Hello and welcome to a Bergkamp Wonderland and Arsenal podcast. I'm Gimli and tonight my guests are... First up, he's my actual hero. It's Danny the GFP.
What, like a box of chocolates hero?
Oh, Kit Kat hero.
Well, there's about as much fat in it.
You know, in Japan, they have about 20 different flavours of Kit Kat.
Do they really?
Certainly do.
Is one John Collins?
I don't know. It's absolutely stunning. So if anybody is in Japan, hello, and please send me all the Kit Kats you can find.
Jason would like all 4 fingers.
Next they do a limited edition 5 fingers.
Oh, Jesus.
That's the Lady Front Garden version, isn't it?
Oh, Jesus
Comes
Christ.
with a free gnome.
Okay, next up, Daisies and Daffodils, it's Jason Davis.
Hello?
Jace, save us, please.
Hello!
It's dying on its arse.
What's the matter?
Nothing. Just the rest of you. How are you this week?
I'm alright, thanks.
Good. Are you giving out Welsh justice to anyone around the valleys?
No. It's fucking raining, yeah?
Did you see the snow today? Terrible.
Oh, I tell you what, shit the bed. What's happening?
I know.
The apocalypse is coming. I tell you what, mind you, Dele Alli's got a 3-match ban. Fucking love it. Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's all good to know, you know.
Mustn't grumble, Chase, mustn't grumble. Next up, all the way from Poland, it's an actual lord. It's Mr. Lord Hillwood, or as we know him, Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hello, good evening, gentlemen. Welcome from sunny Warsaw, where it's been actually about 12 or 13 degrees all day today. Quite sunny, clear blue skies, very nice. And I've just discovered that Villarreal's reserve goalkeeper is called Mr. Areola, which is the area around the lady's nipples.
What a tit.
Exactly. He's going to make a clean breast of himself at half-time.
That's not my favourite goalkeeper of all time. My favourite goalkeeper of all time is the reserve goalkeeper for Portugal. No, he was in fact called Quim.
That's true.
And of course, he has a very famous Polish sister called Ava Minge, the fashion designer.
Oh, no one mentioned Shitu or Dudu, but when they both played for QPR at the same time, that just began beyond the pale.
It would be.
Well, this is back in the 80s now, isn't it? With a Benny Hill rocking around the place now. Fuck my life.
And
my life.
Finally, a wise head on equally wise shoulders. It's David, Mr. Goonerholic. Hello, David.
Hello, mate. I can't believe you've invited me back here again.
We love you. We do.
I'm going to try and raise the tone a little now.
Good luck.
That won't be hard.
I better put the mute button on, David, and let you start the hard work. But before we do, we'll go to Danny, who has all of the scores across the board and a loan watch.
An injury watch. I'll start it off well. We have one injury, and that's not even our injury. That's Carl Jenkinson, cruciate ligament tear, 3 months, but technically he did that at West Ham. So for the first time since, I've checked the record book, since 1886, it's the first time we've had a fully fit squad. Just in time for our final... Oh no, season's over. Oh, that's a disaster really, isn't it? Not good. So no more injuries. Good.
Are you telling me Arteta's fully fit?
Fully fit. He's had his knees replaced and he's back on form.
What, you mean Thomas Rosicki's fit as well?
Yes, they'll all be playing against whatever losers we're playing next. If my sound is a little bit too loud, people, I do apologise because Skype is shit. And the latest update means that my sound is ruined. I mean, you can't hear me or it's too loud. So I've moved the microphone to another room. Anyway, on to the loan watch. Oh, it's getting fucking depressing. Damien Martinez, permanent unused sub. Ainsley Maitland-Niles,
Conservative.
Not in the squad for the last 3 games since his mum beat up Mick McCarthy, or left some rude messages or some kind of nonsense. That's what I read in the paper. That's not the views of ABW because we have no money, don't sue us. Chupa Chupa Apcom, he's played in the last 4 games, 3 as a sub, and he got 1 assist. Isaac Hayden, also at Hull, he's played 2 of the last 3. He started 1 and the other as a sub. obviously, otherwise he just started both. Super John Terrell, future Sweden legend, suspended for the last 2 games for a double yellow, so he should be back soon. Wellington the Boot Silva, not in the squad for the last 6 games since they sacked Neil Lennon, of which they've drawn 1 and lost 5. There you go, that's quality. When you need a world-class Brazilian forward like him, and you're not even playing him, that's why you've gone down. And I got a text message from Mr. Dagger today in Bolton. All it was tears.
Mick Dagger.
You go through this every week. Mick Dagger, the postman, yes.
But really, though, Mick Dagger,
That's it. There's got to be
the
some.
greatest name ever.
There's got to be
It
some
is.
people.
If
I've asked.
it's true.
He's not on Twitter, and he doesn't do the Facebook either. I know. Poor lad, Iggy Thump. And
He can't get no satisfaction, I expect.
Yes.
Yaya Sano goals. He peaked with the 1 game where he scored a hat-trick. He's missed 2 of their last 3 games. And in the last game, he got 6 minutes. Well, according to one site, it said he got 21. Another one said he got 6. Well, I read that he come on in the 84th minute when they subbed the sub. And they lost 3-1. So that's a load of shit. Glenn Kamara, unused sub in the last 2 of their 6 games. The other 4, he wasn't even in the squad for Southend. Gideon Zelalem.
Na 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 na.
No.
Mana.
Na 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 na.
Banana.
Na na na.
Banana.
Na 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 na.
Banana.
No, stop.
I was
that.
actually, I tweeted something the other day, and a Rangers fan said that he rates him. Quite a few Rangers fans that I've been speaking to, they all really rate him. They think he could do with another season there. Now they've got promoted. They've won the one of the cups. It's not the FA
Doc
Cup.
Martins League, 4th division.
It's the cup that is played for by the bottom 3 leagues.
The Buckfast A-League Division 7.
So Rangers are back in the big time after being out of the Premier League for 5 seasons, and just in time Celtic are going to sack their manager because he's rubbish, even though he's probably going to win the title again. So hopefully Zelalem will spend another season at Rangers next season, and he'll come back with a Scottish accent and weighing about 22 stone, and he'll be a behemoth in midfield. So well done to him. In Italy, Wojciech Szczesny has started again for Roma because he's their number 1. They beat Napoli 1-0. That's 13 league games in a row, undefeated, but he's only got 3 clean sheets, so he's no David Seaman. Put your shoes back on. Quick nip across to France, and Matthew Debuchy. He's not there. Bordeaux have not played a game in 12 days. I don't know why. If Chris is probably shouting at his Apple-based device at the moment what's going on, but I don't know. He started in the last 2 before that, of which they drew 1 and lost 1. Breathe. The under-21s haven't played. Fuck knows why. The under-18s, they won a game. Fanfare, please. Round of applause. Well done. They went to Sunderland and beat them 4-1, with Eddie Nikita getting 2 more goals. That's 21 for the season of him. I can't remember the last time an under-18 was doing as well as he is. And Malin, the bloke we nicked from Ajax, he scored again. That's his 10th of the season. And Nelson, I don't think it's Sammy. So it's probably somebody. It could be Lord Nelson. Got the 4th one for got the 4th one for us. Oh dear, he's been tickled. The ladies, apparently their season has started. David, nobody told me.
Oh yes, back to winning ways.
Well, yeah, last Thursday when we were doing the pod, because they all had the pod on because it was live, they weren't concentrating and they lost 2-0 to Chelsea. No surprise there, they're buying the league. Yesterday they won 2-1 away at Reading with goals from Jordan Nobbs and Dominique Janssen. See, I can say Scandinavian names properly. Nevalainen. There you go, Jaskalainen. It's just the other ones I can't do.
But you can't manage something as simple as Agpom.
No, I can't because I think I'm a Viking, hence the beard.
Waste of time.
I know. The ladies are currently 3rd after 4 games with 6 points. They've won 2 and lost 2. The Chavs and Manx Shitty are both top with 9 points, 3 wins out of 3. So the season's just over. Just give it up now.
Cheerful.
Is that the lot?
And one of my my offspring's school friends is the year above her at Hinchinbrook School, and she was a youth player at Arsenal, and now she's made it through to the first team, and she is on loan at Doncaster. No, not Doncaster. What's the one that the ladies' league where they relegated them to make more room to get Man City up? Was it Doncaster Bells?
Yeah, that was Doncaster Bells.
Yeah, well, she's on loan to them, and she's actually got an official Twitter tick, and my offspring knows her, and I think 24 people that I follow her. So I'm going to see maybe if she wants to come on and have a chit chat.
Yeah, we should do that. I think that would be very, very good.
Yes.
Is that all wrapped up nice and
Oh,
neatly?
with a little bow and a chocolate on your pillow.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try to be upbeat then.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know, because next up is the 0-0 draw against Sunderland to discuss. Um,
So let's finish the
oh,
upbeat bit then.
you've all gone on mute because no one wants it. Who wants it? Who am I giving it to?
I'm
David.
not.
Oh, Steve. Steve, do you
Uh,
want it, Steve?
am I on mute?
No.
Go for it. Let's have a little bit of analysis on the 0-0 with Sunderland then, please.
And I might eat some licorice while you're doing it.
Okay, so we started not very brightly, very slow pace. Pass, 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 lose the ball. Pass, pass, pass. Stifled by Sunderland, who pinned our back four, isolated our midfield, and basically put a wall up that we couldn't find a way through. We couldn't finish. Giroud was appalling. Couldn't have finished in a brothel. Ozil was that pissed off, he shouted out for fuck's sake audibly when a cross from Bellerin was so atrocious it didn't reach him. We carried on in the second half. We tried to make subs, but the main problem was that we didn't up the pace. We were too slow, too parochial. There was no movement there. On top of that, in the last minute, Czech kicked the ball out, really long kick. The goalie came for the ball. Don Vito Manoni came for the ball and fucked up royally. And Walcott was in a position where when it came out, it was either some ex-Middlesex defenders. I can't remember his name. Begins with K now. It was like 60-40 or maybe 70-30 in Walcott's favour, but Walcott with one eye on the. That's it. Walcott with one eye on the Euros, which you're not going to, you little twat, because you're shit. Decided it would be better to jump over the ball and avoid a tackle in case he got injured when he could have actually scored. So that was really the end of the game, and it left people with a bad taste in their mouth. For sure that within the team, Ozil's pissed off because we heard him shout for fuck's sake very loudly during the game a couple of times. But I think all in all, it was a draw. They're a team who still not out the danger zone. So it was going to be a difficult match to go and play at. Not like West Brom, who against us seemed to couldn't be bothered, but on Monday night they decided they could be bothered against the Vermin. But so that's probably best left there really. And the only highlight of the week was Arsenal fans informing on Dele Alli to the FA, so they had to pinch him.
Very good, and quite quickly wrapped up as well there, Stephen. I think you pretty much got everything over the 90 minutes.
I find it's always best when you've got a smelly shit to wrap it up and flush it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's very true. That's why we're not going to really let this one aerate for very long. David, I'll come to you next. The stats on the day said that Arsenal had 70% of the possession and 20 shots, but no goal. Do you think that this game really does highlight the need for a world-class striker at Arsenal Football Club?
It's a fair question at the moment, I think, but I don't know what's happened to Olivier Giroud over the second half of the season. I think someone said 13 games now without a goal.
802 minutes.
He's a better player than that for sure when he's got a little bit of confidence about himself. But yeah, you're probably right. Come the summer, it probably is an area that we need to look at because not only is Olivier Giroud misfiring, but Danny Welbeck's not a natural goal scorer. Theo Walcott, his agent seems to be hawking him around, so there's going to be a vacancy in the squad for sure.
Definitely so. This is something that I'd like to get a little bit of debate going around. I'm sure that you'll all pretty much say the same thing on it. But Jace, we'll come to you next and ask you pretty much the same question. We've seen Giroud, who has completely gone off the boil. We've seen Danny Welbeck, who, he's shown promising things, but I think the doubts are still there. And Theo Walcott, if he ever bothers to take off his invisibility cloak, then we might know about him. But what's your thoughts on the striking situation at Arsenal? I think 7 out of those 20 shots were on target. Not good enough, is it?
It's not good enough, but we talk about this game. Unfortunately, I think the whole season's been a damning indictment and not strengthening in that area. We've had Welbeck out for majority of the season. We knew he was going to be out. We still didn't strengthen. Olivier Giroud is hot and cold. Theo Walcott, yes, he'll show you a flash of brilliance now and again, but all too often his career has been the same. He flatters to deceive. And, the example Steve gave at the end of the Sunderland match, just shows a shithousery. He's not going to die for the cause. He's not Ian Wright, who's going to give you everything over 90 minutes, week in, week out. You know, the lack of fresh blood coming in the squad over the last 2 transfer windows, I think it's been prevalent throughout the season how, you know, we've only played 2 really good matches over the whole season as a squad, let alone the striking positions. You know, we've struggled to score since the first match of the season. We've been piss poor. Okay, Giroud did well when he won his spot back off Theo. Fair play to him, but you know, second half of the season he's been awful. We haven't had enough goals from all over the pitch. You know, Sanchez poor. We don't get enough of Ozil. Goal scoring as a team is an issue for us now. You know, if you get a world-class goal scorer in, he could spark something off. But, you know, we can't carry on like this. We just can't. I like Golly Giroud. I really do. You know, I've got no time for Walcott whatsoever. I think he's a shithouse of major proportions. Welbeck, he's a good squad player. He can do a number of roles for you. But, as you say, he's not a natural goal scorer. He's got not, you know, it won't go in off his arse like it would Mike Lowen, for argument's sake, in his heyday, in his pomp. And that's the sort of player I think we need at the moment. You know, we just need that guy who gets lucky. He's got real gas. Who's, you know, I know there are very few of them out there, but we've got to go and find somebody. We've got to. It's been dire. I mean, how many goals have we scored this season, Danny?
I wasn't texting Mick Dagger and eating licorice. I think in the league it's 58.
We've scored 58 goals in the league this season. And how many games have we played? What, 35?
35. We've got 3 left to go.
How many is that compared with last year, Dan?
Fucking hell, I'm not...
Come on, Dan.
All right,
Dan,
I'll get back to you in a minute.
Dan, don't fuck about. Get on it, okay?
Jesus,
you know.
you're
He's
asking
on the case.
You're asking the questions of Fattypedia there.
Yeah, but no, this is the point. Okay? No.
All right, look, last season...
Fattypedia.
Last season, all competitions, 109 goals. The season before that, 99. The season before that, 104. 96, 119 in 10-11. But this season, I've only updated it to when we played 30 league games.
Okay,
Hold on, so that would be... How many did I say? We've got 58, 68, 69, 70, 71... 84 goals, all competitions, roughly.
I mean, this was my point, that if you look at us this year and last year, the forwards are the same.
Yeah.
And yet we scored more goals last year, and our finishing was way better last year. And my idea about this is it's not just down to the forwards. I think the biggest problem is because our game has slowed up so much, and people are static. What that does is it makes the spaces between players smaller. It means the spaces they've got to operate in smaller. And it also means that by the time the ball actually gets to someone who's going to have a shot, the defence and the keeper are prepared for it. They're set up for it. They've got more time to block off the angles and close it out. And there's that lack of movement, that lack of the pace that should be there to open teams up. Is why we're not scoring goals. Is why we're not finishing. You know, we are hitting the target, but they're deflecting them. They're saving them. The other thing is, if you look at how small those gaps are, Ozil's threading balls through the eye of a needle. The guy's a genius, but you know, it's not that our forwards aren't are sticking them all in row ZZ. Because if you look at the shots on target, they're on target. They're being saved because we're too slow, and because we're not making enough space to pull defenders out and about. That's my opinion. But we do need to recruit people, because Walcott is gone. I think the reason is as Dave said, his agent's talking him about, is because he's been told he's not going to play for Arsenal next season. They want to sell him.
But the thing is, Steve, there's been no zip to our game all season.
What?
It doesn't matter.
Not since Cazorla got injured.
No. Even before then, we were struggling to score goals. We've played 2 good games this season, okay? The first was against Bayern, where, you know, it was a rear guard action where we defended and hit them on the break, and Theo Walcott, that was great, okay? The second was against United, where we ripped them a new arsehole, right, where we were at it from the off, and we did play some really good stuff. But other than that, you know, it doesn't matter who's been in the team, who's been in the squad, we've been piss poor. You know, I love Santi Cazorla. He couldn't hit a cow's arse the banjo in front of goal, but he goes missing in big games the same as everybody else. Okay? It's a fact. He has done since he got here. you know. But the lack of fresh blood into the squad, I think that's really affected us. I genuinely think, you know, that lack of impetus coming into the squad, or you know, is my position safe and so forth. I think I, it's just there's a comfort zone around the squad maybe, you know. But we have, you know, whether it was Cazorla there or whether it's Ramsey there, whether it's Elneny, we haven't played great football this season. We have not, you know, we've played one really good game against United, and we've had one really good performance against Bayern at home. And that's it.
Yeah, but the whole point with Cazorla is that he's like the metronome of the team. He sits back deep, playing with Coquelin, or he could play with Elneny. And what he does, his two-footed thing, always gives the defence an out. It means that they can actually comfortably defend a bit higher up the pitch. But what he does is he gives Ozil space to operate in. He gives you that long ball from the back over the top, which Walcott and Giroud and Alexis can clamp onto. And that option's not there. So.
But Steve, even when the option was there, we were not playing good football.
No, we're not playing good football.
We haven't played good football all season, right? So it doesn't matter who's been in the squad. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's filled the roles. We have not played good football all season. And this is the thing, you know, regardless of personnel we've got available, we've just been bang average. And it bothers me, you know. There's no goals coming from midfield. You know, there's nothing coming from Olivier Giroud. There's very little coming from anybody else. It's been sad to watch.
I agree with you, Jace. Danny, you are ever the one with the wise words, and people love.
On, Tiger.
No, people loved your little rant last week. Was it your Arsene Wenger rant last week?
It was just everything, really.
Yeah, but let's have another one of those. Let's have another one of those about.
I'm not a performing monkey.
Guinea pig.
Oh yeah,
that's a matter of opinion.
Yeah, well, yeah. It'll do anything as long as there's enough chocolate in it. But yeah, Danny, let's have another one of those on our failure to score goals.
Well, first of all, we need to shoot more. What we don't need is Arsene Wenger coming out in the press and saying to Elneny, who's been one of our most refreshing players, who's got. As soon as we saw him play that first game, everyone went, he's got a goal in him, and he has. He's had some decent shots. And what's Wenger told him in the papers? You need to shoot less. What the fucking hell is that about?
So Danny, what you're saying is that Arsene Wenger has answered our age-old question.
Yes,
no, don't.
I know. It's like he's listening. Not only were the ladies listening last week when we did the live show, which is why they lost to Chelsea, Wenger's listening and thought, I'm not having him telling me what to do, those so-called alleged superfans. They know nothing. In fact, whatever he says, I think we should say we should shoot less and buy no players, and then they come out in the papers tomorrow, we're going to shoot more and we're buying everybody. It's just ridiculous. I mean, you just think, I do partly feel for Wenger, because for Olivier Giroud not to have scored in 802 minutes, that's nearly all the minutes that exist. Who was going to say something then?
I was. Soldado just missed a fucking blinder. Absolute stupid Middlesex cunt he is.
Fair enough.
Hold up, I think he's their greatest ever signing.
Well, he's played with Villarreal against a Scouse bastard, so...
£32 million.
Oh, was that Soldado?
Soldildo, yeah.
Oh, bless his socks. Scoring like a scoring machine. Anyway, so it just makes me wonder that Wenger has put so much... not passion. What's the right word? So much faith. So much faith in old Ollie G. And he has scored 20 goals this season. He's our top goal scorer. Just looking at my list of goal scorers, this season, Giroud 20, Sanchez 16, Walcott 9. Last season, Sanchez 25, Giroud 19, Ramsey 10. So it's hard to figure out exactly what is going wrong.
How many Premier League goals has he got, Dan?
Premier League, Giroud has got... he's got 12 in 23. Which, I mean, hold on, that's wrong. That's subs. So he's got 12 in 23 starts and 12 subs, so that's 35. 12 and 35. That's 1 in 3. That's terrible. And you just think, if he'd been going the second half of the season as he went the first half of the season, he scored 2 goals in the Premier League in 2016. I think they were both, maybe, was it against Liverpool?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And
that's the key game, isn't it? Because ever since that game,
fell apart.
We drew 3. We went apart. And spookily, look how we lost that game. Somebody shooting from outside the box from long distance.
Yeah.
And imagine if Elneny hadn't shot from outside the box against Barcelona.
Wenger's probably fuming that he
They probably
dared have a
bollocked him.
shot.
I mean, I'd like to see Frank Lampard have a discussion with Wenger about why shooting from out the box is profitable, because that cunt lived off of it.
But someone did say there was a newspaper article taking a piss out of Arsenal, and it was what was going to happen in the upcoming game. I can't remember what game it was, but it was. Was it? And it was that Arsenal were going to do this. They're going to get the ball. They're going to pass it. They're going to get it around. They're going to pass it. They're going to give it. They're going to tiptoe. They're going to you, to me, to you, to me, and then they're going to put it wide. And it's just the whole build-up of the game, and they were almost completely right. And with the way that we play football, because Wenger doesn't want them shooting. I always remember that Charlie Austin, when he was playing for QPR, when the season they got relegated, he was having pot shots from all over the pitch, and a couple of them nearly went in. And that's the kind of every now and then you need to do that, and that's what people have been doing to Petr Cech all season. We had the goal when we played against West Ham. We had the goal with away at Southampton. We had the goal again with. Against Watford, just players taking a pot shot. You need to do it, but Wenger doesn't want them to do that. He wants them to be more clinical, get to the edge of the box, pass it to 6 players, and then try and score the perfect goal. Remember when we first moved into the Emirates? I'm sure David and Steve were there. The first season we moved in there, we used to shout at them, "Shoot, shoot!" whenever they got the ball, didn't we?
It was very frustrating. I didn't.
I was too busy screaming and fucking how much I
It's
hate the stadium.
going to get to a point where people behind the goal are going to start standing up holding huge fucking arrows with Giroud's name on it.
Are you eating anything nice? I've had licorice.
What's it?
Oh, you swine. I love a what's it.
Why is everyone always eating on this part? Why is Raj set a precedent?
Raj is knee deep in a gatto.
I tell you what, okay, people laugh.
Oh, splendid foul.
People laughing at last season. People talking about Charlie Austin signing for the Arsenal this season.
Should have signed him.
Yeah, 18 Premier League goals for QPR went down. Fuck me, what I'd give for a striker with 18 Premier League goals at the moment.
Going to give £4 million for him as well.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and this is the bit that gets me. He's better. You just need fresh blood every now and again, and we've been dog shit this season. Let's be fair, and I'm being kind when I say that. We've not been good. And
I take your point. I don't think we're playing the football that we're playing is not as stylish and as quick and as penetrating as it used to be. But at the same time, we're kind of getting down on ourselves after a goalless draw with Sunderland. And actually, if you have a look in the Premier League, we've only scored 5 fewer goals than Leicester, and they're winning it, for Christ's sake. Yeah. That 5 goals is worth, that's the 12-point difference.
Yeah, but how many games have they won? And how many games have we lost? Do you know what I mean?
Leicester have won 22, and we've lost 7. And they've lost 3.
If you can win 38 games a season and just score 38 goals, right, and be champions. You know what I mean? But we have not played good football. You're not going to do,
but Jason, at the end of the day, if you haven't got a strong defence, which is a foundation to attack from, you are not going to win anything. And Absolutely. The fact is way too many people keep thinking back to the Invincibles, where that is a one in a lifetime, once in a century achievement.
Yeah,
where 11 players who were that talented and that brainy could go out on the pitch and adjust themselves during the game and work out their own tactics in their head, because they had Dennis there pulling the strings as well. They could do all that themselves without the manager having to attempt to do it. That's a once in a lifetime. Too many people keep thinking back to that, thinking, we should be doing that now. That's the ultimate. And as Dave was saying, we've not been playing the football we should be. And that's because there's too many people playing out of position, too many people being wedged in to give them minutes rather than giving the team the best 11 they've got. And because we keep not buying players. Didn't buy an outfield player for the last two windows. Well, okay, we bought El Neni, sorry, but we bought one. But we all know what I'm talking about. And the fact is, at the end of the day, the speed of the passing and the movement is lackluster, and Giroud looks like he's towing a fucking piano half the time.
Yeah. Got a little bit of an update on Wellington Silva. Mick Dagger's just texted me. His son Josh met him in Nando's. No further news on that.
Was it cheeky or not?
I've no idea. I don't think they say cheeky up north.
Is he gone the way of Craig Eastman? Anybody remember him? Arsenal youngster always used to spend his time in Nando's.
Now look at him. He's probably working in Nando's now.
He probably is, about 50 stone, Danny.
Oh, that's not good. So I think the players no longer believe in the way that Wenger is telling them to play, especially if you get someone who comes to the club and he's full of beans like El Neni is, and then he's told, stop that. Your job isn't to try and score goals, and then other players are probably thinking that as well. And you
Players
look
in the past used to ignore Wenger. I mean, who was it the other week who came out and said that Vieira used to wander around the pitch saying, "Don't take any notice of Wenger, do this, you go play there, you mark him, you do that."
Well, there is something to the fact that when Vieira had his massive dinner and his award thing, and he didn't mention Wenger once, did he?
No.
Tony Adams wants nothing to do with Wenger. Paul Merson doesn't have a good word to say about him.
Alan Smith's not exactly over complimentary.
Yeah, Perez is still pissed off about the fact that he was taken off in the final in his hometown.
Emmanuel Petit came out and said that he wanted him gone as well.
Yeah, but hold up there, boys. Yeah, all of a sudden, all these stories come out. I'm not having that. Perez is back and forth at the club, training with the club constantly. There's an awful lot of people who've got awful lot of good things to say, okay? Just because there's an axe to grind now, and let's get something straight about Paddy fucking Vieira. He may have been an Arsenal legend, but that cunt wanted out of the fucking out of the squad every season. Was it 5 summers? 5 summers.
At least 2.
And the worst one, he refused to go to Real Madrid for 30 million quid.
Yeah.
When he found out that Real Madrid were a racist club and paid their black players 75% less than their white players.
Yeah, so do me a favour, okay? Whenever, why isn't Paddy Vieira at the club? Paddy Vieira can go fuck himself.
Oh,
Lovely
God.
stuff. We'll
Davis
make this
is
one
back.
quickly then. Jack Wilshere made his return, David, didn't he? Wow, isn't it nice to see him back in the squad?
It was. I still can't get over that. Jace, you can't say that.
I can. He wanted out of the club every single summer.
Oh, why have we gone back here?
Sorry, that's my fault.
Yeah, but don't be funny. Boys, you wanted to care. Paddy Vieira hasn't got a good thing to say about Wenger. Well, guess what? He can suck my dick.
Wonderful. David.
Anyway,
From
Jack
what I
Wilshere.
understand, he probably hit you between for the eyes with his, which is immensely bigger than yours.
You don't know that.
Ashley Cole said it was.
Ashley Cole would know.
This was in Anelka's book, where apparently Anelka was complaining about antics at Arsenal. One of the reasons why he wanted to leave was apparently he got hit between the eyes by Vieira with his dick for not passing during a game.
No, you know what that is, because Vieira thought he was a cunt.
Am I right in saying that the further extraction
Allegedly.
went on to say, and it was massive. He actually put quite a lot of emphasis on how large it was.
Most worryingly, apparently Ashley Cole said, "Is it my turn next?" But allegedly.
Before he got his shotgun out. Jack Wilshere, David. Jack Wilshere, David, save us.
Yes, it was lovely to see him back, wasn't it? Not for long, and let's hope he gets a full game in at least before the end of the season in one of the last 3. I'm kind of mixed feelings about him going off and playing for England in the Euros, because I hope if he does, he comes back in one piece. But if he gets a full game before then to prove himself, then why wouldn't you take the best midfielder in England when he's fit?
Definitely so. Right then, Danny, did you want to do Twitter questions next, or go to our main topic of the evening?
Oh, I'll let our wonderful guests decide, as long as they can do it without calling us the C word, Mr. Davis.
Do you know what? You realise that I'm normally the one that swears. I haven't done one naughty this week.
You haven't done any. I might just have tweeted that what Mr. Davis has just said.
I've just seen what you tweeted. So,
that'll get people listening.
Your mentions are about to become an absolute fucking state.
You're lucky I didn't at Vieira in that as well, but I don't know if he's on Twitter now that he's in New York.
He's on Twitter. Did you at him on there? Because I'm sure he'll have words.
Jace.
crack on.
Jace, as this podcast goes along, I'd like to hear the best of your mentions, please, as you go. I think that would be a superb addition to this podcast, but we will do the main segment of the evening.
I'm just going to put any abuse to Mr. Davis will be read out live on the podcast.
Yes. You might know that we do a hot topic every now and again, and this week is that week. So everyone here on the panel has a topic that they want to talk about. So who would like to go first? Steve, Dave, or Jason?
How about Dave first?
Yeah, let's go for Dave first.
Should we go for me?
Yeah.
Voice of reason.
Yes, yes.
All right then. People who know me know I was pretty down yesterday after all the news that emerged about Hillsborough. Although it's emerged over a period of time, just to see it put all in one place yesterday and the events that happened there, it kind of hit home, because I was there in 1973 when we were crammed into the Leppings Lane end against Sunderland. It was a most unpleasant afternoon. The same thing happened to our friends and neighbours in 1981. And funnily enough, the same thing had occurred just a year before when Liverpool also played Nottingham Forest, surprisingly. And there were a whole series of things that came together to create an incident that meant 96 people didn't come home from a football match, which is an appalling state of affairs that should never have been allowed to happen. But basically, the short version of it is that they had an officer in charge of Hillsborough for previous semi-finals who had been relieved of his duty because there had been a prank that had been pulled where a young officer had been bullied a few weeks beforehand, and they put a guy in charge who was completely unprepared for policing a major sporting incident. And indeed, one of the things that came out of it was that the 2 hours between he arrived and the game starting, he couldn't account for where he was. He just couldn't remember. He then was the responsible for what went on underneath him, which was that as a crowd built up outside and kickoff came closer, the opening of the gate that meant that people could flood into the stadium and cause the crush in the centre tunnel, which was right in front of them. And the police didn't cotton on to what was happening until a long time after it was apparent that people were in real trouble behind that goal. And then after all had taken place on that afternoon, there was clearly a concerted effort by the South Yorkshire Police to lay the blame firmly at the square of the drunken football supporters. They had a very quick press briefing, and of course everyone knows what the Sun ran with the following day. And it wasn't helped that the story was also fed. There was some degree of collusion, it seems certain, between the police and the press and the government of the day, because there's also the note that Bernard Ingham sent back that basically laid all the blame again on the supporters. And I just, everything that happened that day could have happened to any football supporter in the world. And it's those 96 people who I absolutely feel for in the aftermath of the event. It's the families who have had to fight for 27 years to get to the truth and to get some degree of justice. There's a little way to go yet, because those who are responsible and are still alive must now face the music. And I'm encouraged to say that Theresa May said as much yesterday, and Andy Burnham's wonderful response to that as well. I hope that at the end of the day they do have to face justice, and then they will have their full closure.
Definitely so. Steve, Dom asked this week in the WhatsApp group exactly what happened, an unbiased view about it, because you know it's something that is truly, truly sad and that should never, ever be forgotten. Steve, the account of the events that you gave was so superb. Can you just give us a gist of what happened for the people that maybe aren't so familiar with the events of Hillsborough?
I think Dave did it justice. I mean, basically, there were a lot of fans outside trying to get in. There were a lot of fans who went to be outside and around the stadium, like people do all the time, to join in the match atmosphere. The police weren't prepared properly. This stadium had no safety certificate. It had been reported on previous other occasions by fans to the media and the police it was unsafe. As Dave said, you know, in previous semi-final with Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, and with Spurs as well. And the police panicked, unprepared, and opened the gates. But I think the biggest context, what's got to happen here, is that whilst this tragedy was unfolding, whilst people were actually physically being crushed to death, there was no ambulances there. The ground was not prepared for any potential risk or problem that there could have been in a public assembly of that number. There were not enough first aid people there. There were no defibrillators there. And when the fans were trying to climb out over the barriers, which were penning them in, to drag out kids and people who were literally crushed to death and asphyxiated, the police thought they were invading the pitch and started battering them. Then when they actually realised what was going on, Of course, the fans had to break down part of this barrier to get these people out, and they were lined on the pitch. The pitch became like a mortuary. They would. You could see people on the TV giving mouth to mouth and pumping people's hearts, desperately trying to save people. But if there'd been proper ambulances there and medical staff there and enough first aid people, a lot of those people wouldn't have died. And then you've got the police come along and said, oh, they were stealing money out of these people's pockets. They were nicking their wedding rings. They were urinating on these absolute scandalous accusations to blame their incompetence and to blame the political agenda of the government of the day because they hated football fans. Thatcher she had a bee in her bonnet about football hooliganism, and she wanted actually to use this incident to clamp down on football. And indeed, when the first aftermath of this, when the Scarman report, I think it was, someone will correct me if I've got the Lord's name wrong, came back out, he absolutely said, well, it isn't the fans. But she sent it back with a comment on it saying, we can't accept this. And we meaning her talking in the third person about herself because she thought she was the fucking queen. And this was all part of an agenda about how the South Yorkshire police felt and the Tory party felt that it was ordinary people, so who gives a shit? The same way that they broke the law in Orgreave and charged 97 miners with riot and affray, and not one of those guys was convicted in court. The same way that they're going to have to pay millions of taxpayers' pounds in compensation to those miners whose names were blackened and ruined, who were jailed incorrectly, in the same way that they're going to have to do that for these people who've lost their lives in Hillsborough. And, the 96 people died in the ground. There was another casualty, a guy called Stephen Whittle, who was Mr. 97, very sadly. He was supposed to go to this game, and he sold his friend his ticket. And for many years, he carried this awful guilt with him that he killed his friend by allowing him to go to this game. And in the end, this poor lad threw himself in front of a train, took his life. And in his will, he left £61,000 to the Hillsborough Trust so that they could pursue justice. And I'm glad they've got their justice, but I want to see these policemen brought to trial. I want to see it understood by the police and by the media that if you take part in collaboration to pervert the course of justice, commit perjury, falsify documents and lie, then you will be caught and it will cost you your pension and your job and you'll go to jail because that's what these people deserve. It's if you like, it's murder by health and safety, disorganisation and incompetence.
Also should be mentioned the Sun newspaper. Jason, would you like to elaborate on that a little bit more? Because all Liverpool fans actually boycott the Sun and tell you not to buy it as a newspaper.
Yeah, I'll go a step further than Steve. It wasn't just a government thing against football fans. It was a government thing against the city of Liverpool. It had a really high unemployment rate at the time. It was a kind of Labour stronghold and so forth. And in all this, you had Kelvin Mackenzie, who was editor of the Sun at the time, who happily printed these stories, who happily colluded in, making stories up and so forth, in the same way a Piers Morgan would. Okay, he withdrew the comments later at a later date, and then reiterated them a number of years down the line. Okay, this sort of agenda against those people carried on through the years, and everybody kind of forgets. Okay, you talk about justice for the 96. You see the names printed. People lost their children. One man lost two of his daughters. For fuck's sakes. Mothers lost their sons. People lost husbands and so forth. The absolute carnage left in these families' lives, all through the incompetence and negligence of a police force, which was then colluded with the government at the time to cover this up. I remember, I told you boys earlier on, I was coming back from Cardiff the day this happened, and I was listening to my Walkman on the radio as events unfolded, and I was waiting for my father to pick me up at Swansea train station. And I remember just crying, thinking, what the hell is happening? And, the commentary on the radio was, they look like they're dead on the pitch. They go to a football match. These people went to a football match, and you can talk about all the other factors all you want, okay? But people lost their lives. They were crushed. And they were beaten by the police. And then it was covered up in the most fucking despicable way. They had no respect for those lives. They had no respect for that man who lost his 2 daughters. They had no respect for any of those people who lost their loved ones. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if I don't like you, and I don't care if I despise you. You do not deserve to lose your life when you go to a football match. You do not deserve to have your name dragged through the mud. You do not deserve to have lies printed about you, and to have your government, your elected government, blacken your name and have a vendetta against you.
Especially
Okay?
not with the collusion of Rupert Murdoch, the phone bugger of Millie Dowler's phone.
Exactly. Okay? And people want a fucking museum to that woman. Well, I'll tell you what, there's something wrong in the world, okay? And this is the problem, okay? People accepted this. People accepted and they're happily colluded in it. Well, one man lost 2 of his daughters that day. 2 young girls, they're 97 lives unlived. 97 lives unlived because of a gargantuan mess up on that day.
And it's those 97 who are the most important people as well, mate.
Yeah, well, I kind of disagree with it. They're gone, but their families live on. Okay.
Yeah.
And the bit that gets me, the bit that really gets me, okay, those families live with that every day. They live with that every day. So, if the police have had any honour, would have upheld the law as they're supposed to do, they could have held their hands up and they could have saved these families. Was it 27 years of hurt?
No, but they weren't going to do that because they were hoping they could drag it out for as long as possible. So all the protagonists who were involved in the bad stuff were dead and couldn't get punished or too old to be tried. And that's going to be the next thing, is that they'll all be producing bits of paper from doctors saying that they're not well enough to stand trial.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
the other thing is they were hoping that the families would die off so they wouldn't have to pay them compensation. The same strategy as they used with the war compensation victims.
Yeah. It's not just, this. What happened in Hillsborough, it's not just shameful to the South Yorkshire Police. It's not just shameful to the Sun, to News Corp, to Rupert Murdoch, to Kelvin Mackenzie in fucking particular. It's not just shameful. It's shameful to us as a country. It's shameful to us as a country. Because, I believed the lies at one point. I remember a friend of mine, he's a big Liverpool fan, and he was talking me through that. It was the Scarman report, I'm fairly sure. But he was talking me through it, and I had my eyes open to it. Because of my hatred for Liverpool Football Club, I happily believed the lies at one point, and I'm ashamed of that now. But, there are 97 families who've had to deal with this for 27 years.
The other people we haven't mentioned as well are the 9 jurors that survived the 2 years that it's dragged on for.
Yeah.
What a job they did. I take my hat off to them. They've gone through the most harrowing of testimony was given. They saw the most awful things, and full marks to them for coming up with the verdicts that they did.
If you want to read a really brilliant article on this, there's someone else who needs mentioning here. It's the Guardian journalist David Conn.
Yeah, I saw that.
He usually writes articles about football finance, and he was instrumental in unmasking the villain at Leeds. But his unstinted dedication to this inquest, where he's gone every single day and reported and tweeted live what's gone on there for 2 years. He's got an article on the Guardian website called Hillsborough, and it's in the long read session. Every football fan should read it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And to lighten the mood.
Yes.
Where's Gimli gone? Is he
muted? I was just saying, while I was on mute, that I think you boys have covered that absolutely superbly. And what an emotional topic. And I think from all of us here, we're just delighted that the 97 eventually got the verdict that they deserved.
But it's the longest inquest in British legal history. Was it 22? It happened 27 years ago. Was it 22 years, the inquest?
Yeah,
It's
can I make a
ridiculous.
point as well for all
Yeah.
those out there quoting off the European Court of Human Rights? If it wasn't for the European Court of Human Rights, that inquest and that justice those 96 people and their families got would never have happened because they would never have been able to force the inquest or get the inquiry.
Yeah, and if it wouldn't have happened to them, it would have happened to someone else sooner or later.
Well, it did
Yeah.
happen to other people at Brox previously. I mean, I was nearly in one here where France played Poland in Legia Warsaw Stadium, and it's been like as crushes have happened outside Highbury at times, but not like that.
Right, we'll move on to our next topic. Who do we want to go for next, Steve or Jason? Steve or Jace? Do you know what? You are just the person to lighten the mood, and I know exactly what your topic is. Go.
Oh, here we go.
I'm strapped in for this. I'm
Not mentioning any names.
No, I'm getting the popcorn. Thank you very much.
This time, don't forget to unmute yourself, you tit.
No, I won't.
Oh, right. Okay, where do I start? Okay, social media and football fans. For me personally, social media. Sorry, I'm starting to get a load of abuse now. Oh no!
I saw someone that called you a Welsh skip rat.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm not being funny. I stand by my Paddy Vieira comments. He wanted to go for 5 years. Fuck him. With social media, it's a great tool to meet people, to discuss football, to make new friends, and it's how we've all met. It's been fantastic. I get to chat to people I really like, and enjoy talking about the game. You can debate different points and so forth. Recently, we're kind of seeing the ugly face of the ego that comes into it. Okay,
Was that Igor or ego?
Yeah, a bit of both, actually, fella. But sorry, my phone's gone bananas now.
I did just see, Jace, that someone's popped in, and I will give him a shout out quickly. At NN_Guna has put to you, Jason Davis thinks Michael Owen is a decent commentator, and respects his opinions. Jace, for shame.
I'm not being funny. We all know that's bollocks, but Michael Owen was World Footballer of the Year.
And how about that one for Martin Morgan? Don't worry, don't sweat it, Jace. Us sheepshaggers are in this together.
He's a good man.
But can you just get on with your topic, son?
Sorry, yeah. So in any case, okay, you always see everybody has a heated debate now and again. We've all said stupid stuff on social media. That's fine. But you're getting to the point now where, there's been recent events. Obviously, we've got banners up at the moment and so forth, and they've been held up in the light of, freedom of speech with a view. Now, as much as I disagree with that, I kind of respect their opinion. They can have that. But when you get an Arsenal legend giving his valid opinion on it, he's called a muggy cunt or wherever. He's abused by people and so forth, because all of a sudden they think, because they've become a bit of a celebrity on a minuscule part of Arsenal social media, their opinion is law. Social media is full of opinions. It's not fact. Your opinion is not fact. In science, you have to empirically test something to show it's factual. If your opinions are not challenged, there's no way they can become fact. And this inability for certain people to be able to express themselves, take a bit of criticism and have their opinions challenged, because basically their heads are so far stuck up their arse, they won't see daylight again because they're a little celebrity on a little part of Arsenal Twitter. It's ridiculous. It's getting to the point where, they'll abuse people. They moan about people. What do they describe them as? Haters. Haters, they describe them as. But they'll slag off anybody and everybody. They'll bring people's kids into it. They'll bring people's girlfriends into it. We've seen examples this week of one of our own being abused by a certain person. it's just pitiful. It's sad. It's degrading. It's embarrassing, to be honest. As an Arsenal fan, it's embarrassing to be. My mates are laughing their heads off at me. None of them support the Arsenal. They just think we're a laughing stock now because we've got these little people popping up thinking there's something special. And as one of my friends said the other day, you got a few bottom feeders supporting your club, haven't you? Thankfully, I was able to say, as a Man United fan, you've got a lot more. But you know what I mean? They've got a point as well. I mean, I don't understand how these people become. They get this sort of podcast fever, this social media fever, where if you disagree with their opinion, you're a mug, you're a twat, you're whatever, just because you disagree with their opinion. I don't understand it. If somebody could enlighten me on how that's how they can justify that, I would love to know, because that's all I kind of see at the moment is people trying to act. It's almost as if they're like silly little teenagers trying to give an intelligent point of view, but absolutely talking bollocks and not having the wherewithal and the backbone to take a bit of criticism, to say, well, okay, so you may think I'm a mug, I don't care. You may think my opinion's bullshit, but you know what? I can take it. But they don't. They can't do it. They have to resort to some pitiful bottom feeding ways that just are, quite frankly, embarrassing.
If you look at the club, the way that they do their own content, that's not always ideal. That's not always aimed at the target audience may want to see it. But it's quite remarkable from a marketing person's perspective that the club allow these individuals. Some of these individual setups are quite sophisticated. They're quite big in terms of hits on YouTube, big in terms of ad revenue, big in terms of media attention. They've become brands in their own right, using Arsenal's name, using Arsenal's logos. It's quite remarkable that the club, first of all, haven't sought to control it. Secondly, haven't sought to control the use of their brand material and logos and copyright. And thirdly, I think now it's starting to become more extreme. Some of them are appealing to the lowest common denominator to get the biggest number of hits or to get the biggest outrage. Some of it's scripted. Some of these people are playing characters that they're not really being themselves on camera. I can see a situation where if what we're going to talk about later escalates and becomes fractious between the fans and the board, then I think they will reel these people in. I think they're going to start deciding, right, you're not going to be able to use our name. You're not going to be able to use our logo. We're not allowing you on the premises. You won't be allowed to get on the concourse of the club to do that, and so on and so forth. And some of these individuals are actually banned from the Emirates already. But the point for me is that these are grown adults. These are not kids. Saying, "Oh, Alan Smith's what's he ever done for Arsenal? Some 18-year-old idiot who gets in a minibus to go to a game." and then when someone points out, well, he's got 2 golden boots, he scored the first goal at 89, he's got 2 league titles, UEFA Cup, Winners' Cup, and he's won 2 FA Cups and a League Cup, and they're like, that's a kid just being stupid and being muggy. But these are grown men. These are people's fathers, and their obsession levels are worse than any stalker. They don't seem to have anything else to invest their life in other than the fortunes of Arsenal Football Club. Now, don't get me wrong, I've been a Gooner for 50 years, and I had a season ticket for 39 years at Highbury. And I used to go home and away, even flying from Warsaw to go to home games. But I've got other things to consider in the wherewithal of my life. I mean, to be honest, if social services are watching some of those fan videos and God knows what else going on there, certain individuals who've got kids on there should be bloody well afraid that they don't tip up and remove their kids and lock them up. But it's got beyond the point of good humour, as Jason said, utter bottom feedery.
But what gets me is I watch some of these things and I see people who are just passionate, who just get upset, and I kind of respect that. I'm the same in, I'll scream at the TV when we don't play well. I feel every kick of the ball, and I get what people say, but when people are just doing it for effect, when it's a falsehood, when it's not about the football, when it's not about the club, when it's more about them, that's what offends me. That's what offends me. It's a case of, you know,
Also, it also makes us all look cunts as well.
yeah, but this is the thing, you know, me and you disagree on Aaron Ramsey, Steve, okay? We can have an intelligent conversation about that. I wouldn't call you a name. You would call me a name. You know, but you know, all in good fun, okay? And all as friends, okay? You know, and we forget about it. We've all had our moments on Twitter where we've said something stupid. We all have. I can hold my hand up. I know I have. Okay? But at one point you've got to stop and think, hold up. This is getting beyond the pale. This is becoming shameful. This is becoming pathetic.
Dave,
You know,
Dave, Jace, can you imagine like in 30 years' time? So, Grandad, what did you do when Arsenal were getting thrashed by Barcelona at the Emirates? I was standing outside telling everybody that Stan Kroenke's a cunt and that Arsene Wenger's a bastard. Yeah, look, you could look at me on YouTube. Aren't you proud of your granddad? I mean, Christ, can you imagine it?
I have to say that I've been very much busier with the block keep on Twitter than I have ever been before, because it kind of poisons the timeline. But not only do they poison the timeline, but you also can't actually totally block them, because all of a sudden there are kids there who are writing about them on your timeline, and it does my brains in.
but this is the thing. I follow.
By the way, people, anybody who follows me, please don't retweet Piers Morgan on my timeline.
Yeah.
No, you're not an Arsenal fan if you retreat that cunt. I mean, apart from Kelvin McKenzie, he's the second worst journalist wretch in football. Absolute grass who got 40 Arsenal fans to sack.
We'll talk about him later, but this is the thing, okay? I follow and I'm followed by a number of people whose views are opposite to me. Okay, they're totally opposite to me, and sometimes I think, ooh, I don't like what he's saying there. But you know what? I never find them abusive or anything like that. I just find them, you know, they're just passionate about it. And okay, you'll read it and you'll think, oh, you know, okay, I get kind of where you're coming from, but I don't necessarily agree. And there's no big kerfuffle or hoo-ha about it. But you know, there's a certain element at the moment where I look at it and I think, I see 13-year-old girls wanting attention as better behaved than you. You know, it's truly pathetic. It's embarrassing. I mean, you know, how do they actually watch themselves, or is that all that they do is just watch themselves? You know, I don't know how you guys see it.
I just want to say something about David Conn. Just been on the Guardian at 8:56. That's 9 minutes ago. New South Yorkshire Police Chief steps down over conduct questions. She's only been there for 2 days. Spotlight falls on Deputy Chief Constable Dawn Copley as South Yorkshire Police Force is left without a Chief Constable for the second time after the Hillsborough verdict. So she lasted 2 days and now she's quit. Stepped down. Bloody hell. And that will just keep happening and happening as everybody tries to pass the hot potato and say it wasn't their fault.
Back to the superfans topic. I find it difficult to understand why people can't speak to other people with more of a level of respect. I've spoken
from you.
I apologise.
I've bought a kettle and I spend all day calling it a dirty pot.
No. Right, and I've engaged in an argument with this fella.
Guys, you started a war.
I didn't start a war. I just said how I feel, which, you know, these people, they're a waste of oxygen. They spread their filth throughout the fan base, and I just find it amazing how they can have a following and their following be like such sheep where.
Yes.
If you say a bad word to them, all of a sudden you've got 10, 15 people on your back going, oh, you're a cunt. No, I'm not, just because I disagree.
But Matt, what you know, and what makes it worse is the hypocrisy they show. They mourn about haters and so forth, and somebody's mentioned a member of their family, which I don't agree with whatsoever, not being funny. You don't bring other people's families into it. Yet these fuckers do exactly the same thing. And then you get people trying to justify it. They try to justify the unjustifiable. And it's abhorrent. It is fucking the lowest common denominator. I've stepped in better on the street than these people.
I can give you an example of this, Jason. In the exchange that I had with this certain, let's call him TD, right?
Do we
This
have
week.
to? Do we have to have this example?
Yes.
No.
We do.
Leave it go. Leave it go.
No,
Bill.
no. But he talks about, obviously, as you said, family members and people were giving his family members shit, and I don't condone that at all. That's wrong in any way, shape, or form. Getting personal is wrong, right? But he moans about that, and then he will turn around and he said, my partner was a cheap date, and it's like. I said to him, I said, so you don't like people talking about your boy, yet you're more than happy to slag off other people's wives and girlfriends and brothers and sisters and friends. But his response to that was, my boy can't defend himself. There you go.
I know. It's abhorrent. It's abhorrent. But this is the level of person you're dealing with. It's the level of the person you're dealing with, and I mean, there's no honour there. There's whether it's fame, hunger, or hunger for fame, or whether it's self-delusion, I don't know. I mean, I'm fairly sure a psychiatrist would spend just an hour with these people every week, but it's pathetic. It's we need to be a bit better than that, don't we?
Yeah.
Whether you're holding a banner up or whatever point of view you have, I'll happily listen to you. I'll happily take on board what you say. I'll happily respect your opinion. I won't call you a name. I won't abuse you. I may disagree with you. I may challenge your opinion, but I will not abuse you. I will not do that. I have done in the past, don't get me wrong, but you see the levels it's going to now, and everybody needs to bloody count to 10 and take a step back.
And I will say, before we end your topic, Jace, we must give a nod to our good friend Jeff Arsenal, who was the centre of the debate this week. And I have to say, I admire him and respect him for keeping a cool head in the situation he was put in. I can't say that I would have done the same personally. But yeah, at ABW, we were upset at the treatment of one of our own. So all the best to Jeff, and if he's listening, yeah, mate, we got your back. So we'll move on then, and the final topic.
Right, sorry, can I just say, I'll finish it. I'll finish this on this. Sorry.
Yeah, go, Jace.
To be fair to G, okay, since I've joined this podcast, he's been nothing but a gentleman to me, okay? He's a lovely guy, He doesn't go slagging off people like that. He tries to keep it balanced. And whether you agree with Jeff or disagree, and I disagree on certain things with Jeff and I agree on other things, but the guy's not horrible. I've never heard the guy be horrible about anybody. He dislikes certain people. I've seen him have arguments with people and not like them, but I've never heard them badmouth them. Jeff is a gentleman, okay? And whatever people do, whether they like his point of view or not, that guy has always treated everybody I've seen with respect and decency. He does not go sort of badmouth. Yes, he'll have the odd bit of an argument to somebody, but the amount of abusive messages he gets is ridiculous and it's fucking shameful. It's fucking shameful. Just because he supports the manager. Oh, big deal. Big deal he supports the manager. That's down to him and that's his opinion and he's do it. Okay? And exactly the same as the people who want the manager out, they do their opinion, okay? And everybody has a bad moment. But the amount of abuse he gets and what happened this week was pathetic. But then again, Jeff's not too bothered because he goes home to his lovely house, his lovely wife, his lovely family, and he just gets on with his life.
His dogs.
Yeah. Damn dog. So he's not too bothered. But, let's take a step back and let's take a long, hard look at ourselves because there's no fucking need for this nonsense.
But you'd be surprised the number of times that people will do shows with Jeff for the first time, and at the end of it they'll go, I didn't realise what a lovely bloke you were, Jeff. I completely misunderstood you. And that happened during the midweek with a couple of people. And so I think you can't really judge someone unless you speak to him for a while. And we spent a load of time talking to him.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's all right.
I mean, Jeff, Gav, all the boys, when I first joined you, everybody was lovely to me. Everybody, and I'll tell you one thing, it's ridiculous the amount of grief people get. It's just pathetic.
Agreed.
Sorry, I'm done.
Game.
Get yourself off mute, you plonker.
Sorry, but so to finish it, I think if you look at someone and you think they're a cunt because of their views about a football team, then I think if you're looking for a cunt, then you need to look a little bit closer to home. Right, Steve.
Buy yourself a mirror.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, you're the last one up.
I think, as most people know, all the fan associations, Black Scarf Movement, AST, and Red Action, have called for a protest during the game against Norwich. And the theme of this protest is time for a change. And to sum up why those three bodies have come together and asked the fans, the match-going fans, to make a protest inside the stadium. First of all, it's because our majority shareholder, Stan Kroenke, basically is only motivated by using Arsenal as a cash-generating machine to lower his borrowing rates in America. He's not interested in investing in any one single dollar of his own money in the club to push the club on and upwards. We've got a board full of rich old men who don't represent the borough. They don't represent the fans. None of them have got any shares, and none of them have got any football experience. There's no ex-players on there, and they focus purely on Arsenal as a profit-generating thing, and also as a private gentleman's club that they see to be their own property. Fans, if you like, a lot of fans feel cheated that we were told that we're leaving Highbury to go to the new place to get the money to compete with the elite of Europe, but at the moment we can't even compete with Leicester and Spurs. And the only way we are competing with Europe's elite is on the balance sheet, and there are no trophies given out at the end of the season for having £250 million in the bank. So actually, we're probably now further away from competing with the elite of Europe than we were, say, at the time when we had the Invincibles before we moved stadium. Every year, that cash mountain gets bigger and bigger, and every year, Arsene Wenger finds an excuse not to spend it. Whether he's told he can't spend it or he doesn't want to spend it is irrelevant, because that money, as we know from when Swiss Ramble was on the podcast, is devaluing in terms of its value for buying players and paying wages in the football market. And now Arsenal have got to replace players. It's going to cost them a lot more than it would before, and so actually it's been foolish not to invest earlier on. There is another side to it. Many people are unhappy with the manager, who seems to think that the game has passed him by, that he's stubborn, stuck in his ways. He doesn't want to sign people. At times, the team don't seem motivated by him. The tactics are too predictable. Teams know, even the smaller teams know how to sit back and play against us, hit us on the break. They know they can score against us at dead balls, which are like Russian roulette with 4 bullets in the gun for us. Almost like every dead ball's like a penalty. And in the last 10 years, we failed to really compete with the top 2 in the league. Yeah, we've won a couple of FA Cups, but apart from that, we've failed to do anything cataclysmic in the Champions League. We've failed to do anything in the Champions League other than qualify and get Stan Kroenke another 40 million quid. And the club now has gone stale. There's no management of Arsene Wenger. There's no governance of the club over his decision making over whether he buys, sells. He's the one deciding who we buy, how much we should pay for him. There's too many things which have gone negative, and it's time that the club had a shake-up. So what's happening at the game is that all those fan associations, Black Scarf Movement, Red Action and the AST have asked their members to print off placards and stand up on the 12th minute of the game, because it's 12 years since we won the league, and the 78th minute of the game, which is 12 minutes from the end of the game, to represent again the 12 years we haven't won the league for, to say it's time for a change, and to say that it's time Arsenal Football Club needs to be run as a football club and take the views of the fans into account, and not run as a business to exploit us and rip us off. We've had some victories on away tickets. We've had some victory, if you like, on that, but still the fans are making a massive contribution in season ticket money and other money we're spending in that ground, which is a lot of money when you take into account people's wages, and it's nothing to what Stan Kroenke's got personally in his own right, or in the assets that he owns. And it's ridiculous for a club like Arsenal to be sat there for what could be £300 million in the bank by the end of this year, and then come out and say, "Oh, there was no one available again." So it's time for the fans to stand up and protest. And we're doing this in a game because if we don't do it in a game, we do it before the game, the cameras won't be there. If we do it after the game, most people are less than 10 minutes before the end, and the TV cameras can avoid the areas where it's in. If we do it during a game, it can be seen, it can be on TV. Other fans will see it, the media will see it, and it will get a discussion going in the British media about what is going on within Arsenal Football Club. We've already had some success with journalists writing articles, but we want more. We want to force change on this board, and it's about time the board woke up, because we've done this before. We got rid of Terry Neal as a manager. No one wants to see Arsene Wenger forced out of this club. No one. I don't want to see him abused. This man's done a lot for a club, and he's given a lot to it. But as time has gone on, it's time for a change.
I think, as many people that want him out, I don't think the day that he finally leaves, no one will be. I certainly won't be happy that he's gone. I'll be very somber indeed. I think it's very sad. And when you look at it, the current situation, it is upsetting and it is distressing to be an Arsenal fan. David, would you like to elaborate on the protest anymore? Do you agree with it?
Let me put it another way. I have got some issues with the timing of it. I wrote a piece about it on the blog last night. I fully understand everything that Steve just said is spot on. You can't argue with any of that. I fully support anybody who has their right to protest. For me, though, there is a timing issue around this, and I don't think the change that they're looking to achieve is clear enough, and I think that's probably on purpose, because if you come out with asking people to hold up banners saying Wenger out, you won't get the support that you will for something that just says a generic "we want change," because I think most people in the ground do. But I don't think it should be 3 games from the end of the season when we still have so much to play for and the potential to pollute the atmosphere at the game. That will transmit to the players. And that's just an opinion of mine, and my opinion is worth no more than Steve's or Jace's or yours, Gim, or Danny's. But I do feel it would have been best left to the last game of the season against Villa, personally.
I mean, from what I understand, it's pretty toxic in the stadium at the moment, Dave, isn't it? People like arguing and fighting amongst themselves.
Yeah, if the game's not going well, that absolutely is true. But
I think this
it'd be horrible if it went wrong against Norwich.
Yeah, but I think this might be a bit of a pressure release, and I think people do want to they want to protest, and they're obviously not going to leave it here. This is going to be a one-off, and I take the points that you're making validly, but at the end of the day, everybody wants Arsenal to get 3 points. I don't think there's any doubt about that. No one's standing up making any hideous chants at the team or the coach. If there is any abuse, it's going to be directed at the director's box and Kroenke, and rightfully so. And if I had my way and it was legal, I'd like to see our fans egg the director's box and turn around and moon them, because that's what they deserve. They've sat there and allowed our club to fall into the compost heap because they haven't forced an investment plan, they haven't driven a strategy, and they've allowed a manager to be unmanaged and uncontrolled and do what he likes, and they're to blame for it. Simple as that. They're to blame for everything that's going on in the club at the moment, because they chose who to sell their shares to. They've remained there in control of the club, and they haven't pushed any strategy or development other than making Stan a load of cash.
Jason?
I think there's a lot of valid points there. I mean, I'm kind of torn on it, I mean, with what I said about Vieira earlier on, I think Vieira showed us very little loyalty, and that's my issue with it. Okay, I understand it's a professional game, careers are short, etc. The one thing about Arsene Wenger, which I'm torn on, is he has shown us loyalty. You can talk about his salary all you want, but that man has stood by this club when there were bigger offers on the table. Okay, when Cesc, Vieira, Henry, all these people have left, and for different reasons, for different players. You have to take it case by case. But there are issues there. there are issues there. Has this become for Wenger a bit of a Napoleon complex where he thinks he can win the league his way? Because it's not working, okay? It's not working. There is an issue where the cash pile is actually detrimental to the value of the club because players' values increase quicker than money in the bank. So that's not doing the club as a business any good as well. There are so many different things impacting on this where, something has to change. You cannot turn around and have your chief executive every year saying, we have this much of a war chest. We can buy a world-class player every year and then only buy one outfield player in 2 transfer windows. I don't care who they buy, okay? It doesn't have to be a world-class star year in, year out for me. But you have to strengthen the squad, keeping the likes of Rosicky and Arteta, 33 and 34 respectively. There's something wrong somewhere, okay? I'd like to Arsene Wenger, when he does go, and I'm kind of the opinion now that this summer's the right time for him to go, for me. And I never thought I'd say that. I never thought. It breaks my heart to say it. But I think it's probably the right time, in my opinion. But it's just my opinion. But it breaks my heart to say that. But again, there are issues at board level, as Steve says, and they have to be addressed. You cannot have this going on where, one of the biggest shareholders is Manov. He's got 30 plus percent of the shares. He's not on the board. The guy's got 30% of the shares. He deserves a voice on the board. Okay? Henry Winter, there was a bit of a kerfuffle about Henry Winter at the AST meeting the other day, and he said, you should have a football man like Liam Brady on the board. Well, I don't say you can have Liam Brady on the board when he was in charge of the youth academy. We've had a damning report on the state of the youth academy under his leadership. But again, Arsene Wenger has had fingers in too many pies. I want my coach to coach the first team squad. I want him to get the best players available or the best squad available that he sees fit in his eyes, okay? Now, maybe Arsene Wenger's done that, but with all this money in the bank, okay, surely he should have somebody say he's accountable to say, well, hold up, Arsene, we can buy you a world-class striker. We can do this, we can do that. You need to do it. Too much has gone wrong. And, people can talk about Dean and people can talk about other characters who've been involved with the club. David Dean's partly responsible for the place we're in at the moment. He brought Kronk in, he's brought Usmanov in, and, there's all this nonsense going on where Kronk has one idea of how the club should be run and the fans have another. The fans have a right to say what they want to say. Let's not get away with it. Do I agree with it? Do I not agree with it? I'm torn. I gotta be honest with you, I'm torn. I can never have the affiliation with the club who's somebody who's born and bred in the area, who's had different generations going to watch the Arsenal. I can't have that. I don't have it. It's difficult, but for me, I've loved this club since I was 7, 8 years of age. I've loved it. I've adored it. And I don't like where we're at the moment. I think a change is needed, and whether you do it at board level, whether you do it at managerial level, I think there's an overhaul needed, and that's the sad truth.
Definitely so. Danny, would you like to finish us off?
If I had a supporters group, I'd call it Arsenal KO, and there's only one way to get rid of this vermin from our club, and that is to stop the club getting money. And the only way you stop the club getting money is people stop going to the games. That's it. Until that's going to happen, don't bother with your protests, because he isn't going to give a shit. So you say to everybody, don't go. And if you have to use persuasion and say, don't go in the stadium, don't do it. Do you want our club back? He's only there to leech money out of it. And if there's no money being leached out of it, then he's not going to be fucking interested. Whether that takes half a season of not going to games, that's what needs to be done. Because nothing else is going to work, because he doesn't give a fuck. He isn't going to go, oh, look, there's a few banners. I agree with what they're doing. They get my full support. But he's not going to go, oh, there's a few banners. Oh, that's not very good, is it? Oh, what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what the fans want now. No, he isn't going to see it. He isn't going to see the reports. And he isn't going to give a fuck.
No.
Don't bother. I mean, carry on doing it, but it's not enough.
No, I
But
agree.
you can't stop people from going. I can't say to David, don't go to the game. And they go, well, I want to go to the game. Well, there you go, go. But we're never going to get our club back until we stop giving him what he is at the club for.
That is right. Danny, Twitter questions.
And talking
How
about
much time have we got left? I know we've been running quite a long time, haven't we?
I don't know. I've not taken any notice at the time.
Anyway,
Obviously,
if
being
you are
bored.
going to the game on Saturday and you do care about what I was talking about, please go to either Red Action or Black Scarf's websites, print off one of those banners and hold them up at the appropriate times.
Yep.
You know it makes
I'd do
sense.
it. If I was going, I'd do it.
Would you do it,
I'd hold it
Jace?
up.
Oh, Jace is
sorry. I don't think I would. I got to be honest here. Like I said, Steve, I've been thinking about it since we spoke about it on. I'm not sure I could. I can't knock it. I can't, and I won't knock it. But I'm just torn on it. I am.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know, boys. I genuinely don't know.
Well, there you go. That clears up nothing.
Very good that we can have this discussion. We can disagree about it civilly.
And I haven't tweeted any of you and called you the C word.
But,
Maybe that's what we need to do for the next hour.
But this is the thing. I'm being honest about this, okay? Right? I look at Arsene Wenger. Do I think he should go? Yeah, I do. I just think it's run its time. But I think there are other problems there as well. And as you say, maybe they're being vague for a reason for this protest, but I think all too often, we get to that point where, we get vitriolic towards one person, Yes, I'm not happy with the way Kronk's stewardship of the club is going. I'm not, but I don't, it becomes, I look at Arsene Wenger, I look at a man who's shown this club loyalty, who's shown the fans loyalty. It's going wrong. Does he deserve the chance to put it right? Oh, well, I think he's had that chance over the last couple of years. But, my heart says, I want him to stay. My head says, no, I think it's time to go, fella. But, the loyalty in me wants to be true to him because he's been true to Arsenal Football Club. And that's all I worry about is Arsenal Football Club.
And he has earned nearly 100 million quid since we
last
won the title.
And I tell you what,
that helps.
What's he earned in revenue for the club? Come on, you bring money. He could have gone for bigger money at before time. You don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball when they make decisions. Okay, nobody has a crystal ball. You make the best decision with information available at the time. It's okay to throw it up now with hindsight, but don't have a pop at the man, okay, for being loyal to the club. He may have got it wrong. He may have got it wrong. But I tell you one thing, did he want to get it wrong? No, he did not. And, this thing of you turn around, everybody says, oh, but he's earned this. Well, that's victimising the guy. And that's wrong.
We all said in the summer what we need, and he's getting paid to do the job, but yet we knew what we needed and he didn't do it.
He has made that decision. He's been too loyal to people. I totally agree, okay? But he's made that decision for what he thinks is the best decision to make, okay? He's made a decision. He's got it wrong. Therefore, my head says he should go. Okay, I've got no problem saying he should go. But let's not bring the money into it. Let's not bring the nonsense into it, okay? He's getting paid this money because of George Graham's antics. I know.
So at your job, if you were getting paid to do your job and you didn't do your job, should you still be paid?
If I don't do my job properly and I failed, I should be sacked in my.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah, but this is the thing, okay? They're not going to sack him.
No, they're not.
I think he should go. Right? But you can talk about that. He's been paid hundreds of millions of pounds. He'd have been paid that elsewhere. He'd have been.
Yeah.
You look at Ranieri. Ranieri's been all around Europe. He's been Juventus. He's failed there.
Monaco.
He's failed at Monaco. Okay, he did quite well at Chelsea. Couldn't get over the line. Right? And now it's worked out with Leicester. Football is a funny game. Arsene Wenger, as a man, he's made the decisions he thinks are right for the club. if he's got them wrong, fair enough, okay. But let's not, let's not go this guy. This guy, we eulogise players. We eulogise about Brady and so forth. They all fucking left. They all fucking left Arsenal Football Club. Right? They all went. Right?
Yeah, some wanted to go
Wenger,
and some didn't want to go.
Arsene Wenger stayed. Arsene Wenger showed the club loyalty, so we should show a bit of respect.
Jason, it's not the whole. Let me make it clear. It's not about the manager.
Yeah, no.
It's
I
about.
agree with you. Yeah,
It's about the people that have let the club get into the situation it's in, whether it was through selling their shares and picking the people they preferred to sell to, and their lack of governance of the club as a company,
Yeah,
their treatment, their abuse of the share, and all the rest of it. And at the end of the day, I'm not interested in salaries or loyalty. I'm interested in this football club changing and going through a transformation before it ends up in mid-table mediocrity like somebody down the road used to be.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. Okay, but the problem, the way I see it at the moment is, and you know how it goes. We spoke about it earlier on with these characters. Okay, it does need change at board level. Of course, it has to. The manager has to be accountable to the board. He has to. There's no other way about it. But unfortunately, people are going to make it about the manager as well. And that's what I have the difficulty with it.
Does it annoy you when people keep saying, "Oh, we need to get David Dean back"? David Dean isn't going to come back. He left best part of a decade ago.
David Dean's part of the problem here.
Yeah, no, I didn't say he wasn't. He's one who sold all his shares. He's bought them for 300,000 and sold them 75 million, was it?
Yeah, but he can't come back, Danny. He can't come back. He was banned.
No, it just annoys me. People ringing up the radio saying we want David Dean back. No, he isn't good. No, we don't need him.
Shows they don't understand the relationships that were at board levels. He got sacked by Danny Fisman for trying to sell his shares, all his shares, and the rest of everybody else's shares that he didn't even have ownership to Kroenke.
Yeah.
Then he sold his shares to Usmanov and pissed the board off. That's he will never come back. And to be fair, when David was there working with Arsenal, he did good things, but he's too old now anyway. And the contacts that he had then are gone. The only thing that he has got is that Arsenal will listen to him.
Although he had power because he was on the FA board as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But Spurs through their mate Mihir Boza at the BBC Newsnight stitched Dean up the night before the election and got him chucked off of that and let Man United get control of the FA. But that's another point. But I think to close this section off, you may not want the manager to go. You may want the manager to go. But one thing's for sure, I think that the majority of Arsenal fans all feel is that there needs to be a change at our club, and a change for the better, and that's a change at board level to reflect the base of our fans, the diversity, the borough in which we are, and for it to stop being a rich white man's gentleman's private club, and for them to start governing the club properly and have a plan to move this club forward, and have a plan also to cope with the fact that eventually, whether he goes next year or whether he goes in 3 years, eventually Arsene Wenger will have to leave, and they ought to have a plan in place to go forward from there. That's what all of those things are what this is about.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's hope it stays that way, isn't it? Let's hope that's what's concentrated on.
Let's hope he's not got himself muted because you're about to finish.
No, I'm not muted.
Hey! Hello!
Hello!
Hello. Oh dear, Liverpool player offside goes down claiming the penalty. No, you're not getting that, son. Get up.
Right, you want some Twitter questions?
Yes.
Hurrah.
Okay, right. Mr. Wild says, would Wenger get fans back on side with a very successful transfer summer? Go on, Gim. So how many do you think is a minimum that he has to buy?
No, I don't think it's a minimum. I just think that if he goes out and he has a successful summer, he buys that world-class striker, he strengthens in the positions that we all want him to strengthen in, he gets rid of the deadwood and replaces them, and they are all big asks, I understand that. But if he does all of that, I think he deserves to have one last go at it. If he's there with no intention to strengthen the squad, he doesn't want to spend the money, we have more of the penny pinching, sayonara, bye-bye. I'd rather you go in the summer.
The question is, will he do it?
No, I don't think he will.
Willy buggery. David, what's your thoughts on it?
Direct answer to the question, I don't think he's going to win people round until we put together a season where we take our challenge for the title right to the very end. I think it's gone too far for that. I'm sure he'll be here next season. I'm reasonably sure he will be buying players in the summer. But the answer, unfortunately, as we always say, is going to be judge him in May.
Did you wonderful listeners know that after we did the Invincibles, from the 1st of June to the 30th of May, the season that we won it, 30 players left the club. 30. And that's not just youth players. Quite a few names like Edu, John Spicer, Bradley, Wiltord, Jeffers, Van Bronckhorst, Carnu, Tavaladis, Holloway, Parla, Keown, Stepanovs, Rabba, Shaban. Hey, Rami, if you're listening, which if you are, you're not. Liam Chivers, all those were let go. 30 players left. So he has got previous of letting a lot of players go, but he won't do it.
There was a different reason for that, though.
Or their contract expired, or he milked the life out of them.
No, they actually realised they had to get themselves financially prepared for the move.
So getting a load of wages off. Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. Unless we're moving again, which I don't think is going to happen. Right. Does anybody else want to answer that? Will it make any difference if will people be back on his side, Steve or Jace?
Only if he did what Gimli said, and he won't. So no, it won't.
Jace, the same.
Very few people. I think you got a percentage which will move with back and forth on the view in it. But every year I say, we'll sign what we need this year. I'm confident of it, and every year I'm wrong. So,
There you go. Tears of a Welshman. Right, Al Hassan AFC says, when do you think Wenger will leave? Does anybody disagree that he's going to leave after his contract ends this time next year?
No.
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 Hey, there you go. MIM Wenger. Oh, read it as a W. Wenger out. Why do guys bash Diego Simeone for boring football when we had George Graham? Oh, David, I bet you've got wise words on this.
Oh, no, not really, other than I think you're probably going to get a better answer out of Steve.
That was my second choice. Steve?
Now you've asked me, I'll answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Diego Simeone, he doesn't speak English. He's achieving something with a Spurs-sized club in Spain, but does that make him the right man for us? No, it just makes him the flavour of the month. I think we have other reasons to distrust his potential employment.
Steve?
I don't think George Graham was boring. I think if you were at the final against Parma, I don't think it was boring at all. I think if you were at Anfield 89, it wasn't boring at all. There's nothing wrong with playing with a tight defence and using that as a foundation to hit people on the break or to take your chances and finish properly like Alan Smith and Ian Wright did. And I don't think that Atletico are boring either. I think their game against Bayern Munich last night was brilliant. But Simeone's had run-ins with our head European coach, Gilles Grimandi, whilst playing for Lazio. Grimandi broke his nose after one of Simeone's colleagues called Patrick Vieira the N-word. That went on after the game with Simeone hanging around outside the changing room where he had to be removed by Emmanuel Petit and Tony Adams and UEFA officials. I think, as Dave said, he doesn't speak any English. I don't think he'd be suited to living in London and being at Arsenal Football Club with that disadvantage. I don't think the Premier League would stand his antics on the sideline.
Didn't he throw a ball at an opposition player as he ran past him recently?
Yeah, he did that. He allegedly did that, or a ball boy allegedly did it. But I also think that he's doing very well there, but he's also doing very well there because Atletico Madrid are a Mendes team. Mendes supplies them players that are owned half by Mendes and his secret investors. Atletico, if you like, benefit from them and then they're sold on. And these players seem to go between them and Chelsea. There's a couple of ex-Chelsea players there. And he's not going to have that arrangement at Arsenal because Arsenal won't deal with Mendes. So for me, yes, he's doing very well. What he's doing is very admirable. I don't think he's a candidate to be Arsenal manager for many reasons. I don't think he could survive in the Premiership. And to ask a guy of that age to go and learn a second language, to do a job, to deal with a multicultural squad like that, it's a very tough call. Whilst it would be amusing to see Walcott crying after training when he'd been beaten up or stabbed, that's another point. But the transfer request will be going in thick and fast after the first training session when they're all down there like nonsense about and having a joke. That'd be the end of that.
Oh dear, and they'd find Walcott and Chesney's bodies buried somewhere at the back of Ashburton.
Yeah,
Anyway.
probably in the boot of his car, just carry it around.
Feed it to his horse. Does anyone else want to answer anything on that? Or shall I move on?
Move on.
Oh, okay. Right. American Gunner says, does Ozil's recent statements about his contract worry you, Gimli?
Yeah,
'Cause
it
I know
does.
you're a bit of a worrier, aren't you?
Yeah, oh, I worry all day from the
All
moment I
day.
wake up to the moment I
Yeah.
go to sleep. That's why I'm on about 10 tons of cannabis a day.
Yeah, medication purposes only, not
Exactly.
for the fun.
Yeah,
Hashtag legal high.
Don't do drugs, kids.
No, don't.
No,
I am not a role model.
no.
Yeah,
thought you
it does
rolled
worry
up.
me. Pardon?
I thought you rolled them up.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I'm
are a role model.
a roll-up model. It does worry me. Yeah, I think you see his body language in games, and you see, is this a footballer that you can honestly say looks like he's going to commit to Arsenal Football Club? And you've got to say from his body language, it really, really doesn't. I think Dom alluded to the fact that this next contract will possibly be his last major contract in football. I don't think he'll personally sign. I think, in my opinion, I don't think he'll go to Bayern. I think he'll be on his way to PSG. That's my own personal opinion. And I would be truly sad to see the day that happens.
Anybody else want to answer that?
I think he'll go as well. I think he's been sold a dream that wasn't there. He's one of the best players in the world. There's a million clubs that would like to sign him. I think Arsenal also sadly could make a lot of money out of selling him, particularly in the current market, which might prove tempting for certain bewigged American owners. And I think he might well find his way back to Spain, not to maybe to Madrid, or maybe even Barcelona or Bayern. Who knows? But I don't think he wants to stay with us unless we go and buy players we need.
It's going to be driving him nuts working on. He broke the Premier League record at the weekend for the most number of chances created in the Premier League in a season. And he's playing behind donkeys, lampposts like Giroud, and bloody invisible men in their Klingon ships, warships, cloaked like bloody Walcott.
Houdini Walcott.
Oh dear, the man's magical. Right. Next question. Oh, he's also added a little bit on the end. Normally I don't take two-parters, but it's quite a good one. Does anybody know what Joel Campbell did to Arsene Wenger? Jace?
No.
No.
By the way, if Ozil does decide he wants to go, he can go fuck himself.
He can fuck off with Vieira.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, Dave, don't fucking cunt off a player that hasn't even left yet.
Henri's shit on us as
I
well to
said
go to Barcelona.
I said if.
Is Henri on that list? 'Cause he's on my list. I agree with you, Vieira.
Yeah.
And Henri. They can both get on there and fuck off.
Yeah, I'm not being funny.
Ian Wright
Yeah.
didn't. He didn't want to leave.
Exactly. 5 years. 5 years.
I can answer your question, though, Danny. He probably
Go on,
shot more.
Oh, there you go. He's probably, doesn't want to just tippy-tappy.
Actually being disciplined and playing where he was supposed to, unlike Aaron Ramsey, was wandering around all over the shop.
Oh, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah,
Have him
blah.
up before the Hague, Mr. Davies.
That pulled your Kit Kat, didn't
I
it?
tell you what, okay? You talking of having a Kit Kat, you'll be having one soon, pal. You'll
Oh,
be having
fighting
one soon.
talk.
I've got the gloves ready.
They don't even have them in Poland.
Suits you, sir. We do have them. We've got our own makeup. They're called WKs out here.
Oh, hello. Sounds
Get on, mate.
delish. Right, Jordan Chappell or Chappelle.
Hey, sir.
You never know. He could be French. Can we hire a sniper to shoot Kroenke? Kronky. Kronk.
I wonder what
How
he'd
do
do.
you say it?
I wonder what he'd do, Cronk, if about 200 Arsenal fans went on his ranch in Texas and took it over. Because there can't
Well,
be
the
that many
size of it-
people there.
The size of it, it's just the seventh biggest landowner in America.
Yeah.
It's like the size of France, isn't it, or
You should
something?
just fucking have a Black Scarf Movement's summer camp there or something.
Just tell Raj it's free cake, he'll go.
Yeah,
Tell Raj the cricket's there.
Yeah.
And as much
You
meat
ever
as he
seen the
can
car chase in the Blues Brothers? That's what would happen to those 200 people, let me tell you.
God.
Oh dear, I'd rather have the car chase from Smokey and the Bandit, that'd be
Thing
better.
is, they'll all get lost on the ranch front there, you know.
Can you imagine it? Eventually, what would happen? It'd all get burnt down where somebody had a little temporary barbecue. And it got out of control.
Oh,
Well,
God.
he's busy, old Stan, milking the bulls. It's not easy, because I think his farms, you had more up there about the size of Russia and Europe put together, and Australia. Right, C Smiler 20. Do top players see us as a big club without a title in 12 years and constant early Champions League exits? David?
The fact that we've got Ozil, Sanchez and Czech in successive
have.
windows suggests that players will come to the Premier League where the money is. Yes.
Mr. Gimli, would you like a little tickle on that before I move on? Because
No,
I can't ask everybody the same
I'll have
question.
one on the next one.
Oh,
I love
all right
tickle on
then.
that.
Go, you have a little tickle, Jace.
Well,
You
you
getting
know,
a trout out?
Man City hadn't won a title ever, had they? Was it 1 in 100 years or something stupid? Up until they had the gas money invested in them.
Until they found oil under the stadium.
It's gas money, isn't it, apparently? But never mind. Anyway, if you pay the money, they'll come. It doesn't matter. Okay, all this big clubs, little club nonsense, it doesn't matter a damn.
And you don't have to sell your best players to Barcelona and Real Madrid because that's why Aguero hasn't gone there. They're paying him $350 a week.
No idea.
Fuck, imagine that. I'd work for a week and never have to get out of bed again.
Imagine if you could just work for a week, be like Walcott, not turn up and get sacked. It'd be fucking great, wouldn't it?
Oh,
Excuse me, Mr. Wenger, can I get a month's notice, please? Yeah, go and sit in the reserves. Oh, all right.
I bet he wouldn't even know where the reserves are.
I'd buy a pub and call it the Bergkamp Wonderland podcast pub. We could all sit in there and talk bollocks all week.
Could do.
Free beer.
And free crisps.
Don't hire Walcott to clean the tables. At least he'd have to fucking do something.
You wouldn't. Hey, the first time a table cleaner to be invisible.
He'd have his little yellow cloth in one hand, he'd have a Mr. Sheen in the other, he'd go to clean the table, he'd completely miss it and end up face first in a dartboard. Useless prick.
And the next question is...
Right, Chris Nielsen. That's a K with a kicking K, like our very own. But I doubt he's a pirate. If Wenger sees out his contract, who would you like to see replace him realistically and why? People ask this every week, but they never say realistically. I reckon it's... Oh, actually, anybody got an answer? Because I was just going to make something up. I don't know.
I think... did I read somewhere that Thierry Henry was going to take over one of the youth teams?
Under 16.
The under 16.
Kwame Ampadu.
I do see. Is there possibly a chance that he might well be...
It'd be an Alan Shearer situation.
Being lined up maybe for the job?
No,
he's
doing it in order to get his fully qualified licence, and I don't think they're going to go with a new, completely rookie manager again.
So, has anybody got any realistic thoughts on who it would be? I'd pick Tony Adams. I don't care because he's the best Arsenal player ever. Oi! Shut it.
He is a legend.
He's a legend, but not a manager, yeah.
I'll be the lightning rod on this one if you like. I would move heaven and earth to get Pochettino in.
Ooh. It's happened before.
That would be hilarious. Well, it won't be the first time, would it? I mean, sadly, we took Terry Neal there. Cunt, though. And we had to protest to get that fucker out as well.
True.
So we got the
and it was only
12,000 turned up.
because West Ham had the decency to thrash us, and he got the sack the next bloody day.
Was it 5-0?
There are some legends of this club taking some stick tonight.
Fucking Terry Neal deserves it. All that blinding, all that bollocks. And, he nearly relegated us. We were in 17th position in the League of 22 after that match at West Ham. And to add insult to injury, I got my head kicked in outside the stadium as well that day.
Oh, nice.
Did it shut you up?
No. My old man said, "Did you run?" I said, "No, we didn't. We stood. We didn't have any chance. So we just took an hiding." He said, "Well, don't tell your mum, you won't be allowed to go."
So he just bought you a pair of trainers and said, all you need to do is outrun the slowest person.
The thing is, there's lots of good coaches about, you got Koeman, you've got
the bloke at Dortmund.
Tuchel.
Jimmy Tickles.
I don't think. I mean, Bergkamp would be very romantic, him and Frank de Boer, but you can't have a manager who won't fly to Champions League away games. That's fucking ridiculous.
He's the assistant, don't he? He's the assistant.
Yeah. The thing is, at the end of the day, I mean, I think you do want someone. Go on, son. Yes, get in. Villarreal 1-0, 91st minute. Oof. I say that had to hurt. On a breakaway. No, I think the Villarreal manager might have a case here. The bloke at Seville. There's lots of young managers out there who've got good pedigree, who speak English, and who would love to come to a big club in London. Who've got the budget to compete in the Champions League. So yes.
How about Martinez? He's defensively incapable.
Stop it.
He'd worked well with our defence.
You might as well fucking Paul Raymond to do a better job than Martinez.
But did I see that the Everton fans are even planning their own protest this week, chucking tennis balls onto the pitch?
That's
here
genius.
they are. Martinez out.
Oh,
Yeah.
Paul Raymond.
Yeah.
Paul Raymond.
Obviously, we wouldn't use tennis balls at Arsenal. We'd use quail's eggs.
Oh, Jesus, what?
Right, next question. The Goon. 4 years on. The panel's review of Robin Van Persie's open letter. Anybody want to take this? Because I had to ask you lot what it was.
Oh, I'm not being funny. Fuck Robin Van Persie. Judas cunt.
Another one on the list, right?
I can do it quite simply.
Strangely, sorry, Steve. Strangely, I'm with Jason on that.
Good man, David. Good man.
Strangely, I'm with both of those two on it, and I'll tell you why. Because Robin Van Persie was a bully. Beat up Aaron Ramsey after a game in the changing rooms. He was a snide, a horrible person. It was all about him. Whole reason for that letter, where he slagged off his manager and abused his teammates, just showed what horrible, vile, egotistical cunt he was. And he left the club and sold his soul to win one trophy. And where is he now? Sat on the bench in some shite kebab fucking club, glaring at the manager because he won't play him because he's shit. And
Fenerbahce, he has 11 in 24 in the same league as Podolski.
And what would he have achieved at Arsenal if he'd have stayed? He'd just been a cunt.
Legendary status as a goal scorer, but not much else because he wasn't a nice person.
He'd still been a cunt. Ozil would have fucking not passed him, and Alexis Sanchez wouldn't have liked him either.
Wasn't he the only striker we had who took the corners, the free kicks, the penalties, and did he take penalties? I'm sure he did. Yeah, he took everything, didn't he? I'm sure he didn't take the goal kicks.
So the fight with Ramsey was because Ramsey dared to take a shot and didn't pass to him.
Oh. Anyway, I don't think he'll... there was rumours of him going to China.
I think what the question asker is... Well, good, I hope he gets made into dog chop suey. I think the question is getting at the fact that he may have been right in his assertion the club wasn't going in the right way, but I think actually fact is that Robin Van Persie, the little boy within him, was going the wrong fucking way. Arsenal stood beside that cunt while he was injured for about 90% of his career. He had one good season, which he got a massive contract at Man United off the back of, and we got £25 million. So, yeah, ta-da, good riddance and fuck off.
And if anyone's wondering, Podolski has got 12 in 27. I love Podolski.
Podolski's still tweeting about anyone but Tottenham to win the league. You don't see Robin Van Persie or any of the others. Although I am tempted to suggest that Fabregas might score an own goal against Leicester in the last game of the season.
He got a hat-trick of assists last week. He's back on with 3 games to go. Chelsea are going to win the title.
Just in time for them to humiliate Middlesex.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
I have to say, if Leicester do leave it to the last game, I think Chelsea may well play the under-18s or the ladies.
Actually, the ladies
can
are
you
pretty
imagine
good.
Dave, if it's a Fabregas own goal that lets Leicester win the league? Fucking Tottenham will top
Deep
themselves.
joy.
To be honest, boys, I would, bearing in mind we can't win it now, I'd love to see them win it at Old Trafford. Fucking, that would annoy them.
They only need to get 3 points from their 3 games.
Yeah.
Anyway, last question. This is from Notorious JED. He asked it last week by a DM. I forgot to see it. Gimli probably read it because it didn't come up. I had a message. He says he's going to ask this every week until it's answered. So I thought I'd ask it. He says, I'll forget it by the time the question is out tomorrow, but if we remove Wenger from managerial duties in the summer, do we relinquish the ability to promote him onto the board? And would the podcast today, even want him on the board? Steve, you probably have got itching to answer that.
If he goes, it should be a clean break, and he shouldn't be put upstairs. No new manager is going to want him sat upstairs interfering with everything, giving valuations on players, sticking his sixpence worth in the board listening. This is half the problem. So you want to get a good manager. You want to introduce governance over that manager and have him reporting to the CEO as he should be and under control. Then Wenger has to make a clean break with the club. And to be honest, at nearly 70 years old, as a person, he should be thinking about retiring and having some time for himself. He's given his life to football. Now's the time for him to calm down a bit. Calm your tits.
Anyone else want to go on that?
I think Steve's absolutely right.
Yeah, I agree with Steve.
Me too.
I think Steve's right, but if I were to play the devil's advocate just for one moment, we were talking a little while back about having a football man in the boardroom. And
we meant players, though.
Yeah. But there's no one more in touch with the club that he kind of constructed than him. I agree with you, Steve, but there's the argument for putting him upstairs.
Don't you think though as well? If you're going to change, if he's going to go, all the things that need to be put right within the club are also things which have happened because of him, and all the yes men and the people that are in there that need to be replaced, upgraded. They're all to do with him. It's all his influence. It's going to be very hard to do that if he's sat on the board.
Yeah,
So I
see
don't
that
want
too.
to see. I don't want to see Jerry Payton making our youth goalkeepers into Morris dancers. I don't want to see us having a coach who was a top class defender for our club not allowed to teach defending. And there's many millions of things we could discuss, but surely any new manager that comes in is going to get a brief off the board, and he's going to come with a plan of his own.
Yeah,
Has got to have the freedom to work in, and he can't have that. It'd be like Moyes was with Alex Ferguson looming over his shoulder.
No, you can't have the ghost of Arsene Wenger, hanging over a new manager. To be fair, he should go and he should just embark on a new challenge or whatever he wants to do, and come back in a couple of years or whatever when the time has elapsed, and get the respect he richly deserves at the club. But when he goes, he should just go and just leave, because he's had, we're at a place at the moment where his influences are all over the club. Now, whether you see it as a good thing or a bad thing, I don't care. But for any new manager coming in, it would be poisonous. It would just be poisonous. You can't do it.
Very true.
And also another reason for getting him out is just that the personality cult that has developed around him within one camp of the fans also needs to end. And the new manager needs to be given the total support of everybody to see what he can do without having the people that lost their man grieving and creating all sorts of nonsense.
Something I wrote a little while ago, I made a note of, which is finally relevant, about how much land Kroenke owns. 11 ranches. It's spread over 6 counties, 865,000 acres. It's 3 times the size of LA, or 4.5 times of the size of New York. He's got 30,000 acres of crops, 6,800 cattle, and 1,000 oil wells. There you go.
See, if we
That's
had
for
a
your season ticket money.
Well, I mean, if we had a barbecue there, a couple of them cows go walkies, a couple of 100,000 Arsenal fans on the loose out there, no one's going to know.
You didn't mention cattle, did you? So there can't be any bullshit.
Oh, Gimli, save us.
Right. All that's left then.
What was that guy you wanted to ask a question for?
What?
That guy you talked about earlier on?
Paddy?
No. Oh, yeah. Have you
No,
asked
we
it?
didn't find it.
Mention him anyway. Mention him anyway.
He's got my shout out this week, Jace.
Has he?
Cool.
Yes.
Jumping the gun again.
Right then, shout out some predictions then, boys. I believe the next game will be Norwich at home. So, Danny, let's have a prediction for this one, please.
Oh, we're going to spank them 5-0. Wilshere first goal.
Lovely. Steve?
Did I say that very loudly? I think I might have done.
It's going to be a bloody difficult game because they're still in the relegation mix, and that side's full of ex-Spurs cunts as well who like to do well against us. And we will find it, if we don't buck our ideas up and pass quicker and move quicker, we'll find it difficult to score. So I'm going like 2-1 to the Arsenal, and first scorer will be Ozil. They'll have to score himself because no other fucker will.
Fantastic. David?
Oh, I'm going 3-0 for the Arsenal, and the goal scorer, Alexis.
And finally, Jace?
4-1 to the Arsenal. Aaron Ramsey.
Oh, piss off. You're going to be banned from using that next season. You've got 0 points from that.
Well, he's probably going to Barcelona anyway, so...
One good season and you pick him every game. It's not happening again. Get over it.
I don't pick him every game. I picked Ozil last week.
Yeah, look what that happened.
I misspelled Welbeck the week before.
Oh, yeah.
I keep on misspelling people's names.
We could give people an update on the Predictions League. I've actually moved up into second. I'm coming for you, Jeffrey. I'm coming for you.
I think that you could only be 5 points behind it. You've overtaken Raj because Raj got a little bit too greedy. He's overdone the Gattos. He's failing at the last hurdle because he can't get his gut over it.
He's just given up.
Top of the table, Jeff 55.
Yeah.
But tiebreaker, he's only got 2 right. Exactly right. Next, Gimli 6 points behind the 49, but you've got 3 right. You've got the most exactly right. But I think one of them was a 2-0 Drew because you didn't look.
It doesn't matter.
Next season, that's going to be changed to 9-0 Walcott.
No, what you should do is if you don't get a prediction, that's it. Done.
Done. Fuck them.
Done.
Raj is in 3rd place on 46. Then it's the radio guys on 44, Jason on 41, bloggers 41, and then down the bottom, Dom, who's going to get relegated into the Goonosphere League, and them. And he's on 15 points. Luckily, I've scraped. Don't worry, I'm going to make a late surge. I'm the second bottom with 23, but I guarantee you, within 3 weeks' time, I'll be top of about 600 points.
Wonderful. And I'm going 2-0 Alexis, by the way.
Are you?
Yeah. That's going to be the scores on the board.
The listeners at home and on the bus. Oh, that's a cheeky one.
Oh, suits you, sir. Well, that was my prediction.
Was it?
Yeah.
2-0 Sant. No, you did.
I did 2-1 Nuzzle.
Yeah, and Gimli. Oh, someone's copied your one on the bus.
Oh.
Cheeky monkeys.
Magnificent. Let's do shout-outs then and wrap this up. My shout-out goes to @PaddyV07. He's a top gooner. I chatted with him for a bit today. And he's just a really lovely guy. So he listens to this podcast and he does send questions in, but unfortunately Danny has failed to find your question
because he hasn't fucking sent it.
Don't slag him off. I'm giving a shout out.
Well, he's Irish. He's probably tried typing it with a potato.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Mashed a potato up to the monitor.
No, edit that out.
Christ's sake!
Oi, all my family are Irish. They'll laugh at that if they
fairness,
understood it.
I did
They'll
send.
have ever after you with an act.
Hey, I
Wow.
did send on Danny's mum's birthday. I did send her a picture of a potato with a candle in it and said "Happy birthday."
And she said, "Is that the one who hates the Irish?" I said, "Yes, mother." She went, "Fuck him."
So hold on then. Hold on. Just to clarify, ex-players, past managers,
Current
listeners,
players, current manager,
current
other
manager.
been on one tonight, hasn't he?
podcasts, fellow Twitter runs.
Is there anyone else you want to offend, Jason? I mean, I hear the Scottish are always up for it.
The Australians, they need a poke in
Yeah,
the
the
eye.
Australians. Anything negative about the Australians?
Nah,
Lovely.
nah.
You're not
Right,
very
so yes, Paddy V, and that's at PADDYV07. Give him a follow. Danny.
My one is going to go to Anna, who is at PUNKIEB. Although she lives in Peterborough, she comes round every Friday, and we have curry or Chinese. And tomorrow there's going to be, I think, 6 or 7 of us, and she is bringing gluten-free cornettos. Last week she bought 2 boxes of 4. And she left 4 in the fridge, and I ate them all the next day, one after the other. It's her fault I'm fat.
Do you
So-
wonder why you're 40 stone?
And she's a Liverpool fan as well. Dirty bin dipper. I keep screaming at her.
Can't win them all.
She won't be happy
Yeah,
after
so-
tonight's result.
So people go and give Anna some abuse because she's always been a bit. She's only got 204 followers. She's a cheeky monkey.
Wonderful. Steve?
Yes.
My follower is actually an event, and it's an Arsenal art photographic exhibition, and it's run by a couple of Arsenal fans who are doing this exhibition at Pinebury Corner in July this year. And you can find the Twitter address is at Big O, small p, big A, little a, Oppa 2016. And what they're looking for is you to email them your own photographs, or copies of your own photographs of you at games at Highbury, games away in Europe, FA Cup finals, FA Cup semi-finals, League Cup finals. Great days you had out with your friends and the Arsenal having fun. And what they're going to do is they're going to take the best of these prints, print them up into large size, different sizes, and put them all over Pinebury Corner, outside Pinebury Corner, so that people can go and see them in July and go there, have a pie, look at the pictures and see what wonderful fun people have had following the Arsenal for years. So that's Oppa, OP, Big O, little P, Big A, little A, 2016. Go follow him. And
That's Dan.
That's Dan, yeah. And send him some pics. Clean ones.
Dirty pics.
Clean ones.
None of the toilets at Highbury. You're knee deep in piss.
No.
Don't want any of them.
No.
I had to wheel through those. It's fucking disgusting.
Oh,
dirty bastards.
Jace, save us. Oh, my God, I've come to Jace to save us. Oh, Christ.
He had to wheel through them. So the wheels going round.
Now.
Yes.
This is on his
But I was lucky because occasionally a Snickers bar would get stuck to one of my wheels and cheer me up.
I bet you he ate those
I think
ants
they were-
afterwards.
I think they were Snickers bars.
Piss guards on it.
I bet you he's eating chips with them.
Oh my god, I'm
You leave
gone.
my pissy chips alone.
I'm gone through myself.
Piss stained.
I had to bring a snorkel sometimes when it was busy.
Introduce him next week as Piss Fingers.
Can you imagine him like a submarine coming out of the water?
A yellow submarine.
It's all gone Tottenham in the cardies.
Oh dear.
I can't even remember if Jason's given us a shout out.
Can barely breathe, let alone
Yes.
shout.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of you wheeling through piss, mate. That's made my fucking week.
Ah, the 80s.
Oh, God.
Great days.
I bet you licked your fingers afterwards as well.
Yum, yum. Get on with it.
I bet you ate peanuts.
Oh, my God, I'm going to die.
Right, come on, let's have a shout out then.
Sorry, oh, sorry. Oh, fucking hell, that's made me weak. Oh, so I even forgive Patrick Vieira now.
Do you want to mute and I'll have a go?
Yeah, Dave, take it over. Jason, you mute.
Right, it's nearly the cricket season. One of the best gooners I know. I hope to see a couple of times over the summer for a day of watching cricket and basically drinking yourself into a stupor. So at Sir_Livers, John is a great guy. Get and follow him. Now, Jace, you okay?
Oh, only just. I'm just thinking of Danny rolling through piss with his hands. Oh, fucking hell, that's brilliant. Oh, sorry, Dan. Okay. Oh, that's made my week.
Oh, I can't mute it. I'm not going to.
Okay, my shout out. Funny enough, I'm having a chat with Skype earlier on. Axel at Millennium Folk. Millennium, as you said, and Falk. He's Axel Folk, Axel F.
You know what the end music's going to be now, don't
Yeah,
you?
we do. And he's got he's doing blogs on a German football, and the Twitter feed for his German football blogs are at Fresh Gen Press, and that's Fresh GEN Press. Great guy, Axel. He's been a great. I've followed him for years since I came to Twitter. He's a top man, great sense of humour, a good lad. One of Sweden's finest. So please give him a follow.
Definitely so. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show. I will thank you all. Steve, David and Jason, Pissy Fingers, you have to be here.
Thank you very much. Or Wendy Harry Crutch, should I say.
Thank you, fellas.
Lovely.
It's been an absolute pleasure. So that was a Bergkamp Wonderland podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Keep it Arsenal. Good night. I just got visions of your fucking piss covered fingers.
I was being pushed. I wasn't going to wheel in it, you minge, was I?
Against me now, okay? So he's rolled into the toilet.
No,
Pushed.
go there, go.
Pushed, not rolled.
There's piss all over.
Sometimes I'd slide sideways.
He drifted into the toilets.
I'm here. Hello.
He's made into the toilet. There's piss all over his hands.
Did you have mud flaps?
No.
No, but then he's got
So it was all splattering up behind you. All the bods walking in behind you, getting showered in piss and shit.
I think I only went in there
Bloke
once.
pushing it.
Literally,
only went in there
they
once.
would be called piss flaps.
Yeah, but there's piss all over his hands. Then he's got a
No,
fuck
no,
piss.
I didn't touch him, you
Oh,
silly shit.
yes,
I was
I
being
did.
pushed.
He's lucky
Was
we're
with my old man.
Lucky we're not on the North Bank. We didn't bother going in the toilet. We just straight down the stanchions.
It was like a water feature at half time.
Remember, Dave?
Oh,
Yeah, oh yes, only too well.
So then that was only used in once, and then I didn't know it again. And then they built us our own toilet.
Yeah. I remember once Jimmy Greaves was being asked on the TV. I think it was by Jimmy Hill about about this claim, when Jimmy Hill was president of the PFA, and they were going on about ending the maximum wage for footballers. And Jimmy Greaves absolutely slaughtered the owners of the clubs. He said, "Look at the size of the crowds." He said there were 65,000 at Highbury for the North London derby the other week. He said, "How much money did they get for that?" He said, "We're certainly not getting paid it." He said, "And judging by what the fans tell me, they're certainly not spending it on any toilets."
Do you know what?
A river up there.
I never forget standing in the old Arms Park in East Terrace, and one of the boys, he just he pissed on one of the lads in front of his leg. He's giving a pretty big bollocks, having a laugh. But of course, when the boys Phil's behind him, he just whacks it and pisses all over his back.
Gav used to say there was one bloke. I'm sure Gav said he pissed in someone's pocket. I used to have one bloke. They'd pull their fags out on the back of his coat and call him a nonce.
We always used to piss in fucking half drunk cups of bother and lob them into the away fans.
Yeah.
And if it was Spurs, you just lob the fucking bother in there full anyway. Came down the steps of the clock in. Hello, boys. Whoosh, have that.
When the boys went out to watch Wales in Milan, okay, the San Siro, and the Italian fans above them, and
they're a nice bunch.
Oh, they're fucking horrific. They were dropping cupfuls of shit on them.
Fans were chucking shit at Old Trafford, but I mean, Italian fans take the biscuit for chucking stuff. Do you remember, Dave? Do you remember what the old Inter AC Milan derbies where they used to have all that thuggery going on there?
Oh, someone chucked a moped over the top.
Yeah, it was a Lambretta, wasn't it? You got a Lambretta
nothing if not determined.
Yeah, a Lambretta lobbed it off the top floor of the bods below.
Yeah.
Danny could have had the engine for going to the toilet at Highbury.
Yeah, I would have done. I nearly went in there once, never again. It smelt funny as well.
The birds' toilets weren't much better. I remember once I got lobbed out the birds' toilets at Highbury. Used to nip in there for a piss because there was never anybody in there. Didn't like it when I decided to have a piss in the sink, so I got lobbed out.
I don't know. Pissing in the sink. You can't get away with that.
It's better than Tottenham fans smashing it up, isn't it?
Tell you what, how funny was that draw this week? Fucking hell.
And I watched it. Leicester were fantastic, weren't they? 4-0. The FA do them and take Vardy off them.
To be fair, the FA...
Dele Alli does what he did.
Yeah.
The most hilarious thing about it is how shit West Brom were versus us.
Yeah.
And then he got all these thuggy players like Gardner and that big huge bloke at the back with the beard.
Yeah, he riled them all, didn't he?
And he just he got them all up. And they Tottenham at the bar 3 times, didn't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keeper made a couple of good saves.
Should have been a slaughter. It was the funniest draw of the season.
But do you know what, lads? Okay, what makes me laugh is the punch was pathetic. To get a 3-game ban for that, okay? If you're going to twat him, stick the head on him. You know what I mean?
Do a Davis, you mean?
Break his fucking face, okay? See how he likes it then. But, Dele Alli, he looks like a fucking woman as well, doesn't he, that cunt?
Those waving videos of him, they
hello. Have you seen those pictures that that Highbury Harold has done with the pop-up pirate with him holding 10p for a cup of tea?
But not being funny. I'd like to see the one with him waving and Harry Kane's voice over it.
Well, the one where he's going,
Best one of that montage of them all standing there in the shithole, realising they've blown it. And all the fans in the crowd, there's a couple of them left, and there's one that looks like an even more mongy version of Harry Kane. And it's like he's forgotten where he lived, and he can't leave the stadium because he just can't bring himself to do it. They're gutted. They've realised it's all over. You just wait until Chelsea smash them. And they will beat them. And then go and lose 5-0 to Leicester. It'll be fucking hilarious.
Would Wenger get fans back on side with a very successful transfer summer? Oh, Gimli, what do you think?
I think he shows ambition if he does that. I think he would win fans round. For me, the problem is that he's not strengthening the squad.
Yeah, he's already said it,
if you buy the players, it shows a little bit of ambition.
Good God, he's broke up. That doesn't happen.
And then let's see. Have I gone?
Are you on Wi-Fi? Little shit.
I tell you what.
Yes.
You what?
Am
How
I
dare you.
still...
Yeah, can't hear a bloody word you're saying. Anyway, I'll move on. You shouldn't be on Wi-Fi. You know it's illegal. Go and stand in the naughty corner. No.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Dave, what do you think? Where's he
When
gone?
I'm calling you.
Dave's gone as well.
I'm singing from the Welsh Valleys, isn't it, boyo?
Kimley's gone.
Oh, jeez. Are you there,
Everybody's
Dave?
fucked
Hello?
up all over the place.
Oh, we can hear you again now. What did you do?
I just cancelled the call and started it up again. I don't know
Look at
what
you
went
being
wrong
all
there.
professional.
Can
Are
we...
you on Wi-Fi? That's illegal.
I am always on Wi-Fi.
You hate you.
I just
Can we-
don't
can
tell
we-
you because you have like fucking bleed from the arse. Can we carry this on like if you ask the question and
Yeah.
then I'll just answer it again?
Oh, you just carry on not talking, really. Don't we? I mean, I have to go and find it and edit it.
But it makes it more it makes it easier for you to edit, doesn't it?
Oh,
Or just
I'll
do
give it a go. If listeners, if this doesn't get edited, it means I forgot.
Jesus.
And now are you there, David?
Where's Dave gone?
I think he's
Yeah,
muted
I'm here.
himself.
I've had.
Oh,
I've
you've gone
muted
very
myself.
quiet. Oh dear. This should be called the night of the muted pods. Go on, Gim. So how many do you think is a minimum that he has to buy?